A boy healed the most evil man in the world, then asked to meet a second one. One of the 10 great evils, a name that shook the entire realm, was ambushed and left for dead. But a nameless young boy stepped forward and saved him. His father was the legendary divine doctor. His mother, the most feared demonic doctor, long vanished from the martial world. Dan Ak-seon inherited the pinnacle of medicine from both the righteous and demonic paths. Hearing of a man who goes berserk at the sight of blood, the boy wasn't afraid. He asked to meet him himself. He-ho-do, crimson eyes blazing. Weapon raised to strike. 2 words stopped him cold. It's me. Okay. Let's dive into this story together. This man was once one of the 10 great evils, a name that shook the entire realm. But due to a single moment of carelessness, he was ambushed and overwhelmed by the so-called heroes of the Orthodox sect. Just as he was on the brink of death, his life was unexpectedly saved by a nameless young boy. Despite his youth, the boy possessed medical arts unrivaled in the world. Even long-lost acupuncture techniques were like an open book to him. It turns out, his father was the legendary divine doctor, the saintly hand, and his mother was the #1 demonic doctor, who had long vanished from the martial world. Thus, Dan Ak-seon inherited the pinnacle of medicine from both the righteous and demonic paths, to meet a young divine doctor moments from death. It truly seems the heavens themselves had intervened. However, the old man revealed his true identity. He was one of the 10 great evils. He was deeply grateful to Dan Ak-seon for saving him, but he refused to drag the boy into his dangerous world. Yet, as a student of medicine, the boy would never abandon a patient in need. Before they passed, his parents taught him that all patients are equal in the eyes of a healer. There was only one exception: he would never save those who preyed upon the innocent. The next day, the old man's body was slowly beginning to recover. Though still weak, he could walk with the help of a staff. I promised I would return in 10 days. Yet this body has still not healed. He recalled yesterday, when Dan Ak-seon excitedly asked him. He goes into a frenzy at the sight of blood. What a fascinating case. The old man asked, "Why are you so interested?" The boy replied, "With such a bizarre symptom. If it's possible, I want to witness it with my own eyes." The old man said worriedly, "But there's a problem. He is also one of the 10 great evils. Like you, uncle, he is different from me in many ways." The boy said, with absolute confidence, "I don't mind. Please, bring him here." The old man was quite surprised. "Are you truly all right with this? If I can bring him back, we can easily cover the cost of the medicine. His lair is also filled with countless priceless treasures. It would be killing 2 birds with 1 stone. But where can I find him? I will bring him back myself." The boy reminded him, "Many people will be looking for you." "Uncle," the old man replied, "even so, I must go." He isn't the type of person who can be persuaded by others. He reached out and patted the boy's head. "Besides, I cannot let you fall into any more danger." The boy asked, "Are you really okay?" The old man replied, "He's quite strange. You wouldn't think it's right." "Strange, weren't both my parents the same way? Come to think of it. That's true. I was worrying for nothing. Then I'll be on my way." Returning to the present, the old man was now walking through the mountains with his staff. As he walked, he thought, his temperament is the same as always. Everything around here has been utterly destroyed. He sat down on a boulder and took a small vial from his robes. Without hesitation, he hurled it to the ground, where it shattered, releasing its liquid contents everywhere. Slowly, the liquid evaporated, and a peculiar scent began to drift on the wind, spreading across the entire mountain. His task complete, he closed his eyes to meditate, as if he were waiting for something. And just as expected, only a moment later, a towering figure landed near where he sat. This man's eyes burned crimson, filled with a wild madness as he stared intently at the old man's back. He immediately raised the weapon in his hand, preparing to strike. But the old man spoke a single phrase, "It's me." Instantly, clarity returned to the newcomer's frantic eyes. The man immediately turned his head and called out to him, "Senior brother." The old man simply smiled back, saying nothing. The bald man raised an eyebrow. "What is this?" The world-renowned blood hand master, backing down so easily. The old man pushed himself up with his staff. "That's enough. Hurry and pack your things." The bald man, "Heodu," muttered, his voice and face. "It's really you, senior brother. But why are you suddenly telling me to pack?" the old man replied. "Because the warriors of the Murim alliance are on their way." "Can you truly be this clueless?" But the bald man's vacant expression earned him a weary sigh. He explained the dire situation. The Martial Arts Alliance had officially declared a hunt for the 10 great evils. The bald brute scoffed. Is that all? And here I thought it was something serious. Just when I thought we'd finally have some peace, they start this nonsense again. Fine. But before he could finish his boast, the old man cut him off. Enough. Can't you see the state I'm in? A cruel laugh escaped the bald man. Now that you mention it, you do look like you're one breath away from death's door. To think, the legendary leader of the 10 great evils could be brought so low by those Martial Alliance dogs. How dare you speak so freely? Why not? It's the truth. The old man's eyes narrowed. A cold glint within them. Yes, even in this battered body. I had to drag myself here to save you. So stop wasting time and get your things. We're leaving. The bald man was bewildered. Since when did you grow a heart and start caring about me? Weren't you the one who threatened to pluck my beard and plug my rear end with it? And you once said you'd gouge out my eye to use as your third testicle. Remember, after a moment of bickering, the old man sighed, conceding the point. Fine. Let's just go. We'll talk on the way. Go where? Why are you so desperate to run? The bald warrior immediately spun his staff, showing off his prowess. The Martial Arts Alliance is coming. Aren't they? I'll wait right here and crush every last one who dares to show their face. That can wait, the old man countered. First, we must treat your affliction. Affliction? What are you talking about? That bloodlust of yours. The madness that consumes you at the mere sight of blood. If a cure even existed, I would have torn the heavens and the earth apart to find it by now. One does exist. A way to cure your heavenly punishment. You found the demonic doctor. Hearing this, the bald man was stunned. Not just him, but the divine doctor had been found as well. With that, the bald warrior finally agreed to follow. Seeing the old man's injuries, he hoisted him onto his back to speed up their journey. Stop squirming around back there. I have no interest in getting friendly with other men. If you want to be cured, then shut up and hold on. It's because of that blood frenzy that your martial arts have stagnated. Isn't it? Once you're cured, you'll finally break through your limits. At that point, not even the Martial Arts Alliance will dare to touch you. Then tell me where it is, I'll dash there myself. As if I don't know, you just ditch me the first chance you get. You don't trust me. Do you trust me? A heavy silence fell between them, and not another word was exchanged. The old master thought to himself, I acted tough in front of the young alchemist, but I have no idea how to even begin this conversation. The shame of my defeat is already immense. Now I have to humble myself and beg for money. 2. The Blood Hand Venerable. Renowned throughout the world. Leader of the 10 great evils. What a pitiful state I'm in. Moments later, the pair touched down in an empty clearing. The wicked alchemy immortal was already waiting for them. Upon seeing the boy, the bald warrior unceremoniously dumped the old master on the ground. So this is the demonic doctor's residence, lead the way at once. The boy replied flatly. He has passed away. The warrior was stunned. What then bring me to the divine doctor? Again, the boy's answer was the same. She, too, has passed on. Furious, he whirled on the old master, who quickly explained, that child is their son. He has inherited the complete mastery of both their medical arts. The bald man pointed a trembling finger at the wicked alchemy immortal. This little brat. Did the Martial Alliance beat you so senseless that you finally lost your mind? The old master struggled to his feet. You saw my condition with your own eyes. It's only thanks to the young alchemist that I can even stand here now. The warrior's face contorted with rage. You're telling me it was because of him. What can a pipsqueak no bigger than a peanut possibly accomplish? The old master's brow furrowed, his eyes flashing with killing intent. Watch your tongue, he growled. You are speaking to the benefactor who saved my very life. Seeing this, the man broke out in a cold sweat. Wait, wasn't he just faking his collapse? No, that's not what I meant at all. Fine, I'll watch what I say. Getting so serious over something so trivial. How embarrassing. Dan Ak-seon clapped his hands, cutting off their bickering. Enough. Let's start with your pulse. The three of them headed inside, where the uncle's back was already dotted with several needles. Meanwhile, the bald man held out his arm for the young healer to begin the diagnosis. As he examined him, he spoke. This is far from simple. The greatest issue lies with the chi channel leading to your head. It has become completely misaligned. Because of this, whenever you push your internal energy to its limit, That energy violently stimulates the Naohu acupoint. And in that moment, you lose all control. The bald man shot a look at the uncle. Did you tell him all this? The uncle just replied. I only mentioned that you go berserk at the sight of blood. The young healer continued, unfazed. The second problem is the Kyusei acupoint on your left arm. For a vital point on the pericardium meridian to be in this state, you must have immense difficulty moving your arm. Did you suffer an injury recently? And for the final point, he whispered something that made the hardened warrior blush beet red. You mean, even that can be treated? I mean, is a complete cure even possible? Of course. Then, I will put my faith in you. Just this once. Please, lower your head slightly. The man complied. Like this, yes. Hold that position. And breathe evenly. With a swift, precise movement, he placed a needle on the man's head. Then, he plucked a different needle from the uncle's back, drawing a trickle of dark blood. The uncle immediately yanked Dan Ak-seon backward. Watch out, I warned you, the moment he sees blood, he turns into a monster. But shockingly, nothing happened. The bald man only trembled slightly. He's perfectly fine. How strange. Normally, he would have lost his mind by now. The young healer answered with complete confidence. I told you it could be treated, though a full recovery will still require some more time. Overcome with emotion, the bald man's eyes welled with tears. He immediately dropped into a deep, respectful bow. Great benefactor. The young healer simply waved it off with a smile. Just Physician Dan is fine. Later that night, Dan Ak-seon was in his study, when he suddenly heard a commotion outside. It was the uncle and the bald man, locked in a heated argument. You cheat. Have you no sense of gratitude? Gratitude? What gratitude? You only came to me because you needed my money. Introducing me to Physician Dan was just your way of repaying that 20-year-old debt. A debt I already cleared when I saved your life. If I hadn't warned you that the Martial Arts Alliance was hunting you, you would have walked right into a death trap, completely unaware. Introducing the physician is a separate issue entirely. I paid the full price for my treatment. I'm paying for this cure out of my own pocket. For the amount I'm paying, any other doctor would have bent over backwards to heal me. If you're so sure, then go find another doctor. You think I won't? Just then, Dan Ak-seon's voice cut in. Are you really leaving? If that man dies, I'll be back. Sir, please wait. He held out a silver certificate. I must return this to you. If you plan on seeking treatment elsewhere, you will need money. Consider it a payment in advance. Just use it to fix up that old cottage. That bit of silver is nothing to me. With a cold snort, the man turned and walked away. Dan Ak-seon called out, a hint of worry in his voice. So you're truly going through with this? I hear the Martial Arts Alliance is still hunting for me. Don't waste your worry on me. You should be worried for them. Anyone who dares stand in my way will be cut down where they stand. It's not too late. You could just stay here quietly. And what good would that do? Anyone. With that, he vanished into the darkness, leaving only the two of them in the silent courtyard. The old master crossed his arms, exasperated. That stubborn personality of his would never change. But what could two powerful masters possibly be fighting over? It seems you're close enough to save each other's lives. If the story is difficult to tell, you don't have to. No, it's not like that at all. It's just a little embarrassing. As I've said before, myself and that rule breaker belong to the 10 great evils. You asked what happened next. Right. Well, as I mentioned, I am the leader, while that brute, the rule breaker, is ranked third. Yet he shamelessly insists on calling himself number 2. And then, that's it. Dan Ak-seon was stunned. What? That's the only reason? That's really it? The young healer asked, completely baffled. Is that truly worth fighting over? Surely there must be some other reason. The old master stroked his beard. Another reason. Nonsense. It's just that whenever I deal with that oaf, things always get bizarrely complicated. Meanwhile, in another part of the forest, the bald-headed warrior was scratching his head in frustration. Damn it all. Why is this happening again? The acupuncture had briefly cleared his mind, making him forget the pain. He almost wished he hadn't received the treatment at all. Just then, he caught the faint, metallic scent of blood on the wind. It came from a tiger, fresh from a kill. Man and beast locked eyes, their auras instantly clashing for dominance. In the end, the tiger fled, terrified by his overwhelming killing intent. However, the sight of blood from the fallen prey caused him to completely lose control. He went on a destructive rampage throughout the night. By morning, Dan Ak-seon found him lying unconscious. And so, the young healer brought the bald man back home for another round of treatment, with chewed leaves and acupuncture. Nearby, the old master was also receiving treatment. Unable to stop thinking about the previous night, Dan Ak-seon had told him, "He hasn't been gone long. His illness will surely act up again. I must bring him back. Just leave him be." The old master had argued. He was the one who stubbornly left. "Why should you worry?" But the boy's eyes were filled with determination. "Because he is still my patient. This kid is a true physician," he thought. Across the room, the bald man was chewing medicinal leaves until his face turned green. "What's wrong? A grown warrior acting so timid." "No. It's not that. It's just, this medicine tastes absolutely foul." The time had come to remove the acupuncture needles. As he worked, the boy spoke. "Uncle, let's make a promise." "A promise?" "Yes. From this day forward, please do not leave this place without a word. I am not used to making promises, but I'm saying this because I am worried about you." "Worried? About me?" "Yes, of course I am." The sincerity in the boy's eyes reminded him of his own master. He instinctively placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. "I promise. From now on, I will not leave without your permission." The young healer responded with a warm, genuine smile. "Thank you." The next day, Dan Ak-seon resumed the acupuncture treatment for the bald man. "This boy is a prodigy," he thought. "To have reached such a level of medical artistry at his age, it's beyond extraordinary. Even though I know nothing of the healing arts, I can tell that Dr. Dan is a true master." The boy just smiled. "You praise me too much. Seer, I wonder, how many miracles have you performed? How many countless lives have you saved over the years?" "Not a single one." Hearing this, the man was floored. "Not one? What in the world do you mean?" The boy scratched his cheek, looking a bit sheepish. "You two are my very first patients." When the old master heard this news, he was utterly horrified. "We're his first patients." "That's right, I heard it with my own 2 ears." And he wasn't lying. Both men screamed in unison. "Oh, heavens," the bald man roared. "Are you telling me you're using us for practice?" The boy quickly waved his hands in denial. "No, that's not it at all. The first time I treated someone, I was only 4 years old. But that person was my parents' patient, not mine. Before, I simply followed my parents' teachings, performing acupuncture and prescribing remedies exactly as I was shown. But this time, I chose the methods and decided the treatment all on my own. This was my true first time as a healer." He closed his eyes, a wave of exhaustion washing over him. "Truthfully, I've longed for companionship for so long, ever since my parents passed on. I've been the sole guardian of this vast demon god valley, all alone. Of course, to honor the medical legacy they left me. I never stopped pouring my heart into my studies and research. But then you two arrived, giving me the chance to finally put all my hard work to the test." The bald man raised a hand to his nose, a strange look on his face. "It's a wonder how your story can make a man want to cry and smile at the very same time. I don't know what to say. Why would I cry while speaking? Being able to talk with you both like this brings me more joy than I can describe. By the way, what were you two doing earlier?" They answered in perfect unison. "Just some chores. From now on, Physician Dan, you only need to focus on your medical arts. Leave all the trivial matters to us." But the exhaustion was too much. Dan Ak-seon's world started to spin before he suddenly collapsed, and the 2 men rushed to his side in a panic. "Physician Dan, snap out of it. Physician Dan." Through the haze of unconsciousness, he could still hear them arguing. "I told you we should have started the chores together sooner. Who could have imagined the physician would collapse like this? He's been digging for herbs, pulling weeds, cleaning, cooking, and on top of all that, treating us. How could his small frame possibly handle all that work? See, I said I should just go to the village and hire some strong help, and announce our location to the entire village in the process. Do you want to put the physician in even more danger? That would be a catastrophe." When he came to, the boy let out a heavy sigh. "Physician Dan, you're awake. Are you all right? I must have just dozed off." "You didn't doze off. You fainted. I'm all right now. Truly." He held up his hands reassuringly. "I was planning to visit the apothecary today anyway, to buy more blankets and medicinal herbs." The uncle interjected. In your condition, you're not going alone, but you two must remain hidden here. Are you absolutely certain you're well enough? I promise I'll be back by nightfall. The mountains are treacherous at night. There are countless wild beasts. Don't worry. I have a special type of herb that wild animals despise. As long as I carry it, I'll be perfectly safe. Besides, it's something I've always done on my own. But the bald man insisted. Then I'm going with you. But the people from the Murim Alliance are still hunting for us. A little disguise will solve that problem easily. As he spoke, a brilliant flame erupted from his palm, instantly incinerating his beard. The uncle was utterly speechless. You summoned the legendary Samadhi True Fire. Just a shave. Dan Ak-seon. However, watched the spectacle with absolute fascination. Incredible. With his beard gone, the man rubbed his smooth chin and asked, "So, what do you think? Looking like this, no one would ever recognize me." "Right. I look just like a handsome young acolyte," the boy asked. "But won't it be difficult to grow back for your next disguise?" The man just laughed. "Not at all. It'll grow back completely after a single night's sleep." The boy's eyes widened. "That's unbelievable. I'll show you things far more amazing than that." He then lifted the young boy onto his shoulders. "All right. Let's go, this time. I'll fly us straight to the village. Yes, wait. Hold on. Physician Dan." The other man held out an intricate, dragon-shaped wood carving. "When you're in the village, could you ask how much this might be worth, uncle?" "Did you carve this yourself?" "It's magnificent," the bald man grinned. "Of course. My senior brother's skills are anything but ordinary." Dan Ak-seon could tell this level of craftsmanship was exceptionally rare. It would surely fetch a very high price. He wondered when the man could have possibly found the time to carve it, especially while recovering from such grievous wounds. With nothing but time, he poured his soul into the art of sculpture. He had already crafted 50 pieces, more than enough to forge a new path to survival. A short while later, at the bustling market, one of his statues was presented for appraisal. It was so lifelike. It seemed to possess a very soul. "How many of these do you have in total?" the shopkeeper asked. The boy held up a hand and answered, 50 pieces. 50, you say? And how much for each?" the owner scoffed. 1 silver tael per piece. If you dare to sell all 50, I'll scrape together 50 taels and take the whole lot. Consider yourself lucky. You won't find a better offer anywhere else. So, what do you say?" Without a moment's hesitation, the boy simply took back his statue and turned to leave. "I understand perfectly. Farewell." Seeing this, the owner's confidence wavered. "Wait, you're not actually selling," his companion replied. "No. That price is a complete insult. I refuse to dishonor the artist's spirit by selling his creations for such a pittance." The two then carried the statue to another shop. The new owner stroked his beard thoughtfully. "I must make a profit, so I can only offer 3 silver taels apiece. Though I suspect you could get an even better price elsewhere." "That's fine," the boy replied. "But the quantity is quite large." "Are you sure?" He then revealed his entire cart of sculptures. "To be honest, I worry I won't be able to sell them all at once. Perhaps I'll just take a few," the owner suggested. "No need," the boy's protector stated. "We'll sell you all of them. If I can't sell them here, I'll simply take them to the next town." "Very well. We have a deal." Suddenly, the owner from the first shop came rushing over. "What do you think you're doing? I clearly said I would buy them all. You cunning little brat." But his path was suddenly blocked by the bald-headed giant. The shopkeeper roared in frustration. "What is this? Damn it." He looked up, only to see the bald man smiling at him with an unnervingly friendly gaze. Then, with a single hand, the giant crushed a hard apple to pulp, scaring the man so badly he wet his pants on the spot. A grown man, soiling himself in public. You have no shame. With that, the pair proceeded to the apothecary. "Uncle, I have returned." The shop owner flinched upon seeing the tall, dark, and intimidating figure beside the boy. The boy whispered to his guardian, "This man is a kind person. Please, treat him with respect." Hearing this, the giant forced a smile. A smile so strained, it was more terrifying than friendly. The young alchemist presented a banknote to the owner. "This is the payment for the debt we agreed upon. The medicine you promised to find. Have you acquired it yet?" Yes, I was wondering when you would arrive." He took out a small, red box. A strange, pungent aroma seeped out from within. The bald man grumbled. "Good heavens. You actually spend money on this kind of thing." This is a medicinal herb that helps unblock the meridians and circulates qi through the body. How much is it? The boy asked. Instead of change. Just take this item. The boy's eyes widened. What? But I heard this is worth more than its weight in gold, the owner replied generously. It is because you are a treasured patron of my shop. Now then. It has left my hands. It is yours. Uncle, the boy asked, his tone suddenly serious. Did you by chance source this from the Jinsong medical house? The owner began to stammer. Well, I may have dealt with them a few times in the past. The boy's brow furrowed. Doing business with the Jinsong house is not an issue. But for the herbs I request, you must never get them from that place. If it happens again, our dealings are over. Yes. Yes. I understand. The owner conceded. I will do exactly as you wish. He then made a hasty excuse to leave. Well, I have some matters to attend to. The bald man watched him go. Intrigued. That Jinsong medical house. What is it? Is there something wrong with that place? Not at all. They are good people. He insisted they were kind. But as he spoke, a strange, cold glint flickered in his eyes. Meanwhile, back at their home, the uncle was deep in meditation, cultivating his energy to heal his wounds. The bald man entered the room. Senior brother, you must wake up. That young alchemist. He is far stranger than we thought. The Dan medicine master ever since he returned from the village. He's become obsessed with chores. He was just cleaning the pond himself, drenched in sweat. A relentless cough shakes his body, yet he refuses to rest. Why is he pushing himself so hard? The bald monk sighed. If I knew, I wouldn't be asking you. Senior brother, let's go check on him. They found Dan Ak-seon by the river, washing clothes. Seeing this, the two of them rushed over. Please, allow us to handle the laundry. Dark circles shadowed his eyes, but he still replied. It's all right. I prefer to do this myself. If you insist. Very well, Master Dan. But please, don't overexert yourself. With that, the older man patted his bald friend's shoulder. Signal him, and let's go. Why are we just leaving? Shouldn't we try to persuade him? It would be pointless. If we tried to help, we'd only make things worse. What do you mean by that? It's because Master Dan can't stand our cleaning and washing skills. The bald monk questioned. What's wrong with them? You and I poured our hearts and souls into it. Exactly. And that's the problem. No amount of effort can fix a lack of talent. For us, these simple chores are harder than mastering martial arts. So we just let him be. How can he perform acupuncture if he can't stop coughing like that? The older man frowned. It seems we have no choice. We must invite a specialist. The bald man's eyes lit up. Wait right here. I'll go find someone immediately, but his senior quickly stopped him. This isn't a kidnapping. It must be a formal invitation. We need a legitimate reason. Something the master will accept without question. We need to find someone who needs treatment. Just like us. And who also happens to be a master of cleaning. In fact, I already have the perfect candidate in mind. And frankly, she is exceptionally suitable. The bald monk's curiosity was piqued. Who in the world could it be? Tell me now, so I can go invite her. The older man lowered his gaze and uttered a name. The Ice Jade Fairy. Han Se-ulhua. Hearing this name, even the fearless bald monk flinched. You mean the one who walks the line between justice and chaos, the woman the entire martial world trembles before. Have you lost your mind? Of all the people you could choose, you want to bring that lunatic here? His senior crossed his arms. And what right do you have to call her that? The bald man pointed to his own head. I'm different. My mind wanders from time to time. But she's only lucid on rare occasions. He threw himself down in protest. No way, I'm not doing it. Absolutely not. If you really want to summon that demon, you go yourself. Senior brother, I won't stand in your way. I can't, the older man replied. I have my own business to attend to. That evening, he went to see Dan Ak-seon. It's me, Master Dan. Ah, uncle. Please, come in, he explained. I came to tell you. It seems both of us will have to be away for some time. The young master asked curiously. Where will you be going? Gai Wei is taking another patient to Heilongjiang province. I trust that won't be an issue. What is the patient's condition? Similar to Gai Wei's. Just quieter. The master smiled. That shouldn't be too difficult. I've grown quite accustomed to the work. And what about you, uncle? I need to investigate the movements of the Murim alliance. After a moment of thought, the master said, "Staying here? Won't they discover your presence? Don't worry about that. I have my ways." "How long will you be gone?" The man reached out and ruffled his hair. "I'll be back in 5 days. Biomgaiwi will likely take a few days longer. Then I will prepare their medicine in advance. The herbs you brought last time were of the highest quality. Their effects were excellent. Thank you." The young master waved. "Please, travel safely." Elsewhere, at the Hyangyun Pavilion, a man sat drinking alone. Before him lay a table laden with food. Yet, he hadn't touched a single bite. He ran a hand through his hair, his face a mask of anxiety, sweat beading on his brow. Just outside, 2 women were deep in conversation. A child insisted this letter had to be delivered by hand. I was only following their orders. The man stared at the paper on the desk, his entire body trembling uncontrollably. How could I ever forget that handwriting? Damn it. I heard he was dead. The blood hand venerable. Seo Akryung. The next morning, as dawn broke through the darkness, inside a house nestled deep in the forest, the man from last night was prostrated on the ground. Shaking in fear, before him stood a middle-aged man in red robes, arms crossed, looking down with an icy gaze. This man was one of the 10 great evils, the blood hand, venerable. Seo Akryung. The very same Uncle Seo that Dan Ak-seon had saved. Seo Akryung's voice was laced with ice as he asked, "It seems the letter was delivered safely." The man replied in terror, "My loyalty to you, Venerable, has never wavered. But please understand, I also bear the responsibility of the Phi Bang. Moreover, the Martial Arts Alliance is involved this time. The risk to my clan is immense. Therefore, it is difficult for me to provide you with any more information." Seo Akryung asked, "How many have fallen?" The man looked up and answered, "6 of the 10 great evils are dead. Besides myself and Pham Jiwi, only 2 others remain. The Grand Master of the Green Forest, the evil Tiger Kun, and the one known as the 7 Absolutes Demonic Lord, Old Dan Young." The Venerable pressed on. "What about the 7 Absolutes Demonic Lord?" "He has surrendered to the Martial Arts Alliance. I heard he is personally leading their demolition squad. The once stubborn 7 Absolutes Demonic Lord has joined the so-called righteous faction." Finally, he permitted the man to rise, but not without a chilling warning. "I am someone who remembers a grudge better than anyone else. Only I know of our meeting today. We will see each other again." As his figure disappeared, the man finally let out a desperate gasp of air. A cold sweat had soaked his entire robe. He had escaped death. The scene shifts to a bustling marketplace. Dan Ak-seon walked along, lost in thought. "Are my uncles doing all right? I wonder if they're taking their medicine." Deep in his worries, he accidentally bumped into a passerby. Seeing this, Uncle Pung quickly helped him up. "Are you all right, Uncle Pung?" he called to the 3 men. "How can you be so shameless?" Hearing this, a young man with a sword on his back turned to face him. Uncle Pung said loudly, "You may look like men of the Martial Arts Alliance, but when you make a mistake, you should know to bow your head and apologize." The man replied with indifference, "The members of our league are currently on a mission. So, continue on your way. A martial artist threatening a common citizen. Have you no shame? To carry the name of the Martial Arts Alliance, and yet behave with such arrogance." He raised his hand and declared, "Please state your name and identity. I will personally go to your esteemed league to file a formal complaint about this matter." The young man cupped his fist. "I am of the Kwok family, squad leader of the demolition team's 5th unit. And what is your honorable name?" "Sir, I am Pung Jin Song." "Pung Jin Song. Isn't that the name of the Jinsong Medical House? A powerless clinic, but I happen to be its master." The young man thought to himself. From his dignified speech, I knew he wasn't just anyone. But to think he's the master of the Jinsong Medical House, a man who should have remained in the southern province. "What business brings you all the way here? Must I report my every move to you, people from the Martial Arts Alliance?" Hearing that, the man quickly bowed and clasped his hands. "We sincerely apologize for our rudeness. Please, forgive our transgression." Uncle Pung gestured towards Dan Ak-seon. "The one who deserves an apology isn't me. Apologize to this child. Young master, please, find it in your heart to forgive this one's mistake." He gave a slight nod in return. Then, the 3 men turned and departed. And as they left, Fong Thug spoke. "Such a troublesome group of people. Thank you for your help, Uncle." But didn't I ask you not to come looking for me? The older man just smiled. It was merely a chance encounter. It's been too long. Since fate has brought us together, young master, why not join me for a meal? A chance encounter. You were at the pharmacy just a few days ago. I told you. Do not get involved in this matter. Let's speak privately over there. After all our years together, surely you wouldn't turn me away now. Would you? Hearing this, the young man fell silent. The scene shifts, revealing a table laden with an incredible feast. He asked with a sigh of resignation. All this food prepared and waiting. Is this also a coincidence? Of course. Purely happenstance. Now, please, try some. It does look delicious. But this will be the last time we meet. Let's eat first. Please, don't change the subject. The uncle shrugged. Don't be so stern. Am I not the only family you have left in this world? Looking at Dan Ak-seon sitting across from him, Fong Thuk couldn't help but remember when he was just a child. He was playing with his parents. Why not run to your father? Come to mother. My love. The boy looked from his mother to his father, lost in thought, before suddenly turning in a completely different direction. Standing there was Fong Thuk, who gasped in surprise. A bright smile lit up the boy's face as he leaped into his uncle's arms. Fong Thuk held him close. The young master came to find me. His parents watched the scene, on the verge of tears from frustration, after all the effort we put into raising him. Back in the present, the two of them sat, eating and talking. I've heard you've been going down to the village quite often these days, and you're buying much more medicine than before. That is not something you need to worry about. It's because I was worried that I could meet you like this. Now, keep eating before the food gets cold. Yes, you must have been startled earlier. The martial world is in an uproar these days. There's a villain known as the Blood Hand Demon. The Martial Arts Alliance has sworn to eliminate him. But it seems the reality is quite different. The fact they're still sending scouts out like that proves it. Dan Ak-seon thought to himself, it's not that I'm afraid. But what would happen if it were revealed that I am the one treating those two? My uncles would undoubtedly risk their lives to protect me. Because that is the kind of men they are. In any case, you must be more careful when you go to the village. Young master, how is the food? It's quite good. Picking up a piece of meat, he resolved. For now, I shouldn't tell him I'm treating them. That way, I'm not technically lying to him. The scene changes to a snowy mountain, where a bald man is fighting a woman. I'm trying to cure your illness, yet you treat me with such insolence. Are you looking for a fight? The woman scoffed. A fight? With someone like you? Without another word, she unleashed a torrent of ice daggers, wounding the bald man. He roared in anger. Why don't you act your age? She looked surprised. You see your own blood and remain this calm. He answered with confidence. Of course I am. I've just found both the divine doctor and the demonic doctor. By the way, do you have any money? We need to return to where Han Seol-hwa and Tu Bing are. She asked. Then, what you said before, was it true? You said you found the divine and demonic doctors. Yes. It's the child of those two old physicians. To think you've been deceived all this time. My brother and I are receiving treatment from him right now. The Blood Hand Demon. It's you. Why call him senior brother? Wasn't he framed by the Martial Alliance? Why even call him that? Before they could even exchange a few words, sparks flew between them. This demoness. Aren't you the older one here? Silence. A man of his stature should be addressed as senior brother. Then what about me, you foolish bald monk? What? Explain yourself properly. What exactly happened from the very beginning? You're asking now, that's right. I'm curious, you lunatic. The bald man seethed inwardly, thinking he had to endure this for the divine doctor's sake. He just had to drag this demoness back and put her in charge of the household chores. And so, he began to recount the whole story with wild gestures. The scene shifts to Harbin, in the Heilongjiang province. At the headquarters of the Black Dragon Merchant Guild, the roof was suddenly encased in a layer of frost, shocking the passers-by. What in the world? That building is freezing over. Inside the building stood Han Shuehua, a bone-chilling aura radiating from her body. Across from her, a man trembled uncontrollably with fear. We cannot honor this certificate. The amount you're requesting isn't our responsibility, but that of the former guildmaster who transferred the guild to us. When we took over, all outstanding debts were clearly settled. He presented a death certificate. Please. Look. This is the transfer contract from that time. The amount you invested was also paid in full. The bald man took the documents and asked, where is he now? I heard he traveled to some distant borderland, but I don't know the exact location. When was this from? The second year of the Hongwu era, that's 50 years ago. You deposit money and wait 50 years to claim it. And you have the nerve to call me the fool. Han Shuihua's voice was like ice. Shut your mouth. She then pulled something from her robes, causing the man to recoil. What do you think you're doing? But he quickly recognized the item. Isn't this a jade hairpin? And it's Kunlun jade. Are you saying you wish to sell this? He appraised the pin carefully. In my opinion, 10 gold taels is a fair price. If you took it to the capital, you might even get 20 taels for it. But for us, transportation costs make it difficult to turn a profit. The bald man interjected. A single hairpin is worth 10 gold taels. How could a fool like you possibly understand the value of a creation like this? Are you implying this hairpin is some kind of key? What about the rest of the medical expenses then? You're only getting a special discount because I'm the one who introduced you. Just by looking at you, I can tell it's a difficult illness. It will probably cost at least 50 gold taels. An Shuihua shot him a glare. Leave me be. I can manage on my own. Shouldn't we first verify if your story is even true? The bald man thought in frustration. This cursed demoness. I've known you were old for a while. But just how old are you? Really? The scene cuts to a group from the Martial Alliance. Master Guo was sipping tea when a messenger bird arrived with urgent news. The search mission had no end in sight, and the members were growing weary. They called it a dispatch, but it felt more like a demotion. They had to achieve something significant to gain recognition from the Martial Alliance and finally leave this god-forsaken land. After reading the note, Master Guo erupted in fury, slamming his hand on the table. He's just a minor physician. And yet, the Alliance's highest echelons had to personally send a warning about him. Seeing his reaction, the others grew anxious, wondering what could have happened. Master Guo announced, I've received word that a runaway from the Ye Bang has fled to this area. He's gravely injured, so he shouldn't be hard to find. He gritted his teeth, his voice a low growl. What are you all standing around for? Why haven't you started the search immediately? Yes. Zer. Guok Ga clutched the paper tightly in his hand. First, he had to extinguish the flames before him. He couldn't afford to make Min even angrier. The next day, Dan Ak-seon was dashing through the market in a hurry. Ugh, my head is so scattered. I can't believe I lost track of time admiring medicinal herbs until sunset. I have to get moving. If I take the shortcut from here, I won't arrive until the dead of night. Suddenly, a strange sound echoed from a nearby alley. Driven by curiosity, he stepped into the dark passage and discovered a man covered in grievous wounds. He rushed to his side. Are you all right? Who are you? Get away from me. The boy silently assessed the man's condition. The bleeding was severe. If he didn't receive immediate care, but just as Dan Ak-seon was about to treat him, another hand suddenly seized his own. It was Guok Ga, who recognized him instantly. You. It's you again. He then grabbed the boy, holding him tight as he drew his sword. Without a shred of hesitation, he plunged the blade into the wounded man's body. The boy screamed in pure fury. No. What do you think you're doing? Guok Ga began his interrogation. What is your relationship with this man? He's a cold-blooded monster. The boy thought. He kills, without a second thought. One wrong word could mean death. I can't reveal anything about my uncles. I have to keep my mouth shut. Guok Ga was already calculating his next move. If he played this right, he could ensnare Peng Jin-sung. This man was highly regarded by the leaders of the Martial Alliance. If I create a feud right here, it could solidify my own position within the Alliance. Answer me. What is your connection to Ma Iprip? Seeing the boy's silence, he twisted the blade deeper into the man. Do you know what happens to those who aid a criminal with a kill order on his head? You plan to stay silent. It's useless. Sooner or later, you will tell me everything. Meanwhile, the bald-headed uncle returned with Han Seol-hwa. The senior uncle saw her and gave a slight nod in greeting. It's been a while. Han Seol-hwa said. The bald uncle immediately asked, Where is the divine doctor? He went to the village market. The senior uncle replied. To find some necessary herbs. And you let a child go alone. What if he ran into a wild beast? He carries herbs that animals despise. But what if he tripped and fell in the darkness of the night? If the divine doctor so much as scrapes his knee, wouldn't you, his senior brother, be held responsible? Why would it be my responsibility? In my absence, you should naturally take charge. Senior brother. Or should we make her take responsibility? A flicker of worry crossed the senior uncle's eyes. I should have disguised myself and followed him. Han Seol-hwa glanced around the room. Why is this place such a chaotic mess? A mess. You'll be living here too. You know, how can anyone live in such filth? I'd probably get sick just by being here. Where are the cleaning supplies? Seeing this, Baldy and the senior uncle immediately high-fived. The plan was a success. 2. Isn't everything just as I said? Live long enough and you see it all. But really, when is the divine doctor coming back? The sun has already set. He's always back for dinner, no matter how late. A dreadful thought crept into the senior uncle's mind. Don't tell me something terrible has happened. At that very moment, inside the Chonghua Inn, Dan Ak-seon was being interrogated by Guak Ga. So you just happened to be passing by where this man was hiding. And you found him because you heard him groaning. A wicked smirk spread across his face. It was all just a coincidence. Do you really expect me to believe that? He had been repeating that same question for hours on end. Suddenly, he grabbed the boy by his hair. Brett, when an adult asks you a question, you answer. But even through the pain, the boy refused to break. The Great Martial Alliance. So righteous and just. Hearing this, Master Quack's patience finally snapped, his fury boiling over as he drew his blade. Brett, this is your final warning. Answer me properly. But the boy simply glared back, his eyes filled with defiance. I have already told you everything I will say. Ask again, and you will only get silence. This damned kid. Just as Master Quack was about to strike, a voice echoed from outside. Captain, your subordinate Zhang Wei has a report. A messenger hawk has arrived from Tran Thon so soon. He says he is coming here personally. The man stared at the boy, a thought running through his mind. Pham Tran Then is coming himself, so this is how much that brat means to him. The boy rubbed his neck and pleaded. Please, stop. Don't drag him into this affair between us. He has nothing to do with this. But the man only offered a contemptuous smirk. That will be for us to decide. You were targeting Uncle Fong from the very beginning. Hearing that, the man didn't hesitate for a second, striking the boy and knocking him unconscious. This is not a matter for a child to interfere in. This is business for adults. Meanwhile, deep within a forest, a figure dashed desperately through the trees. There's only a moment left until the scheduled time. I'm not too late. Am I? To think a catastrophe like this would strike while I was enjoying drinks with my comrades. This man was the leader of the Righteous Hall. Tu Tirson. Just moments ago, he had been drinking merrily. Drink up. Everyone, we rarely get a chance to get this drunk. This time, I brought even more than last month. As expected of our great hallmaster, your generosity knows no bounds. He's not just generous, his martial arts are the greatest under heaven. Why not leave this small territory and challenge the Central Plains? That's right, Wu Wei is too cramped for us. Let's advance to the Central Plains. But in the next second, Truk Thuk smashed through the door. He frowned, his voice dripping with scorn. Enjoying such a fine feast in a place like this? Are we? You are nothing but street thugs. The men in the room roared with fury. Who are you? Do you have a death wish coming here? Do you know where you are? But in the blink of an eye, he appeared behind Tu Teach Sun, his hand clamped firmly on the man's head. Are you the one in charge? The master's blood ran cold. His lightness technique is so advanced. My eyes couldn't even follow him. Who sent you here? No one sent me. I came to ask a favor from vermin like you. You will help me, won't you? As he spoke, his grip tightened, forcing a piercing scream from the man. He then gave his order. Right now, investigate everything that has happened in the village today, concerning a child named Dan Ak-seon. You have 1 hour. A red glint shone in his eyes. A short time later, Tu Teach-san returned. I've found him. He's at the Thon Hoa Inn. Back at the inn, Master Quack received a similar report from his subordinate. They said he has already set out on horseback, so he should arrive soon. Who in the world is this kid? To attract so much attention. The sound of a creaking door filled the room. It seemed their guest had arrived. So Thuk appeared at the doorway, and Master Quack shuddered as a wave of immense killing intent washed over him. A subordinate stepped forward to question him. Who are you? Are you with Pham Tran Then? Stop lurking and bring him to us. The man gave no reply. With a simple flick of his finger, the subordinate's arm flew into the air. Master Quack screamed in absolute terror. Pham Tran Then sent you, didn't he? No ordinary assassin could possess such power. Could you be the honored bloodhand he mentioned? He found me so quickly. Master Quack drew his sword and charged. The evil apparition is here, everyone. Assemble. However, no one responded to his call. Because everyone outside had already been silenced by Truk Thuk. He instantly recognized the man. A minor figure from Vong Sun. But as his eyes fell on Dan Ak-seon lying on the bed, pure rage erupted from So Thuk. A low growl echoed. Was it you? Are you the one who dared to touch my physician? The man from the Quach family trembled uncontrollably. Has it really come to this? How could anyone possibly capture a monster like this? In the end, the entire Thon Hoa Inn was consumed by a raging inferno. From the outside, Tich Son witnessed the entire catastrophe. Among those who fled the sea of flames, not a single member of the demolition squad was seen. Could it be that they were all annihilated? Damn it all, after something like this, will the Martial Arts Alliance truly sit back and do nothing? To save my own skin, my only choice is to report this to the Martial Arts Alliance first. I told you to wait for that monster. From the shadows, the bald monk suddenly emerged. And why did you not flee? The man scrambled to his knees. Because I gave my word to you, my lord. So, Thuk approached, carrying the physician. Impressive. You have some spine. Now, forget everything you saw tonight. Yes, my lord. Do you know why those men perished? From this moment on, if the physician in this village suffers so much as a single scratch, it will all be your responsibility. I will carve your words into my very soul. If the physician is hungry, that is your duty. Yes, if the physician is sad, that is also your burden to bear. If the physician is weary, the responsibility is yours. And if the physician desires female company and finds none, that is also your fault. Now, go. Leave. Before the physician awakens. Finally, the bald monk added his own warning. Remember this well. He snarled. Everything is your responsibility. Tears streamed down Tich Son's face. Am I supposed to forget? Or am I supposed to protect him? The next morning, Dan Ak-seon awoke. How did I get here? The two uncles rushed to his side. Brother So, and I brought you. Physician. Are you all right? Are you in any pain? My body is fine. But what do you mean you brought me here? Aren't you two being pursued by the Martial Arts Alliance? They won't just let this matter rest. Sweat beaded on their foreheads. Well, yes. But adults can resolve these things with words. Nothing serious will happen. How could that possibly be true? A new voice, Han Tuyet Hoaz, suddenly cut in. I was the one who spoke with them. I cannot speak for these two. But I am certainly no ruthless warrior like the legendary 10 Great Evils. The boy introduced himself. This junior is Dan Ak-seon. She replied, I am Han Tuyet Hua. Just call me auntie. He happily approached her, when a voice echoed in his mind. Is this sound transmission? My late master once said it's an ultimate technique used by high-level martial artists to converse in secret. Auntie, you must be an incredible expert. The two men shot her a look of utter disdain. That pathetic excuse for sound transmission. What's so special? Once our internal energy fully recovers, a paltry skill like that is child's play. The boy turned back to the woman. Auntie, something unexpected happened yesterday. Please allow me to wash up and prepare myself before I begin the treatment. Is that acceptable? Of course. I will wait here. I shall return shortly. With that, he opened the door and left. The two uncles marveled as he departed. That boy is remarkably resilient, especially since what he's been through is not something a child's body could ever endure. Han Tuyet Hoa thought to herself, could that little one truly be the successor to both the divine doctor and the demonic doctor? Seeing how docile these monsters are in his presence, there is definitely a deeper story here. Hey, you two, if you're going to laze about, go build me a house. The bald monk immediately protested. What? Why should I do that? Have you lost your mind? Her eyes narrowed. Do you want me to tell everyone about your activities last night? The stench of blood is still thick in the air. And just like that, he was shoved outside by So Thuk. Let's go. Later, as Dan Ak-seon took Han Tuyet Hoa's pulse, his expression turned grave. This is truly hard to believe. It's not that she won't speak, but that she is physically unable to. To call this a simple treatment would be incorrect. I fear this will take a considerable amount of time. To be honest, I can make no promises about the results. This is the first time I've ever encountered a condition like this. My apologies. She thought to herself that even if a divine doctor or a demon medic were here, the outcome would likely be the same. It was foolish of me to even hold on to such false hope. He explained that, for now, he could only restore her voice. She was stunned. Was it truly possible for her to speak again? A full recovery isn't possible yet, but restoring you piece by piece is. Of course, this isn't a complete cure. He raised a hand, explaining. The most critical step is to seal the cold energy leaking from your meridians. After that, we must stimulate the nerves and muscles to regain their harmony. Shall we begin? With those words, he started the acupuncture treatment for Han Seol-hwa. Slowly, a sound began to form deep within her throat. How long had it been since she last heard her own voice? He gestured toward the bed. Would you mind lying down for a moment? I need to examine your body in greater detail. You might feel a strange sensation, but you must not speak or move. Uncle Fan and Uncle Seo were fine, but some people might find it ticklish. He slowly entered a state of spiritual refinement, a high cultivation realm where the spirit returns to the void. She asked in astonishment, "How can you do that? I heard you've never even practiced martial arts." He smiled, explaining that medicine and martial arts, at their core, are one and the same. Just as the legendary Hua Tuo created the 5 animal frolics, the world of martial arts has countless internal energy techniques, and their training methods vary wildly. But their fundamental principles share a common root. Though there are many Taoist sects, their ultimate pursuit is singular: immortality and ascension. Most existing Taoist sects focus on qi cultivation, while their spiritual elixirs are influenced by the art of alchemy. I suspect you entered the realm of spiritual refinement long ago, but your state was unstable. It seems you rushed to the next level before your spirit and energy were fully harmonized. That is why you lost all your emotions, along with your sense of taste and smell. The moment your physical body's time stopped, your muscles and nerves were frozen along with it. She sat up and asked, Can it be cured? He replied, It requires some research, but I don't believe it's impossible. As I said before, it will take a considerable amount of time. Time is not an issue, she insisted. There is one other concern. The aging process that has been halted will resume. The flow of time in your body will start again, like a broken chain that can no longer be held back. She confessed that was what she truly wanted, to grow old like a normal person. He was quite surprised. Usually, women wished for their beauty to remain in its prime. My own mother was the same. She placed a hand on her chest and spoke serenely. My life has not been a blessing. If you can free me from this eternal prison of time, I will consider you my benefactor for life. He chuckled. I'm only doing my job. Besides, you promised to help clean this place, so I should be the one thanking you. No. Being able to help is a true blessing for me. The next day, the two of them went for a walk through the city streets. Thank you for coming with me. Whoever is free should keep the other company. Of course. Those 2 uncles are back home fixing up the place. It almost feels like they're avoiding me. But that's probably just my imagination. As they walked, Han Seol-hwa's beauty captivated countless onlookers. How could someone be so elegant and radiant? Like a solitary, perfect flower. He found it strange. Despite the crowds, their path felt clear, and some people on the street even offered them food. After walking for a while, Han Seol-hwa's gaze suddenly darted in another direction. She had already sensed it. They were being followed. It was the men from Jeoksan. Byum-chuk's warning echoed in his mind. He was to keep a close watch on Dan Yaseo. If anything happened to the boy, he would have hell to pay. Just then, the young doctor arrived at the apothecary. The shop owner hurried over. The head of the Jinsong medical family left a message for you. He says to stay away from the village for the time being, until this catastrophe is settled. Last night, a terrible fire broke out at the Chonghua Inn, where the Murim Alliance warriors were staying. The chaos was unlike anything ever seen. Who could have imagined that the Murim Alliance's legendary destruction squad would be wiped out, consumed by a raging inferno? The owner leaned in closer. They say the scene of the fire was littered with wine jars. It seems they were too drunk on wine to escape the merciless flames. Luckily, they had booked the entire inn for themselves, or this could have become a much greater tragedy. Even the head of the Jinseong medical family would have been in danger had he not arrived late. The Peng family head said he will visit you personally after he sorts things out. The atmosphere in the village is tense because of yesterday's events. It's best if you stay away for now. After hearing the news, Dan Yaseo lowered his head. So that's what happened. Thank you for letting me know. He thought to himself, the last thing I remember is passing out. So, how did I get all the way back to the Divine Demon Valley? When he asked Uncle Seo or Uncle Byum, they both claimed they found him by chance, then quickly changed the subject. Suddenly, the shop owner's voice broke his train of thought, startling him. The Wang family just acquired a 100-year-old wild ginseng, and just like that, He had successfully purchased the very item he had been hunting for. Han Seol-hwa asked, "Are you truly that happy about it?" He grinned from ear to ear. "Of course, this will be a great boon for everyone's treatment." She reminded him, "I still can't believe you dared to spend 10,000 taels to obtain it." The color drained from his face. That's right. There was still a mountain of things they needed to buy. What was he going to do? He'd been too caught up in the excitement of the wild ginseng. Seeing him, she was at a loss for words. Is this what they call great wisdom, disguised as foolishness? One moment, he's a peerless genius. And the next, he seems like a complete fool. Still, she mused, among the gifts we received today, there's plenty of food. We won't have to worry about starving. He let out a huge sigh of relief. That's a blessing. Elsewhere, Uncle Seo was training his body beneath a waterfall. Dr. Dan was nearly taken from us this time. And this entanglement with the Murim alliance is mostly my fault. In this vicious world, to survive when you are all alone, you must have the power to protect yourself. His mind was made up. He clenched his fists, his resolve hardening like steel. He had to teach Dr. Dan martial arts. Back at the house, the young doctor was preparing herbs in the kitchen when he heard his two uncles arguing loudly. Are you trying to turn Dr. Dan into a cripple? Han Seol-hwa explained with a helpless sigh. They're fighting over who gets to teach you martial arts. It's honestly quite pathetic. Both men turned to him. Whose martial arts do you want to learn? You've witnessed my lightness technique. Haven't you? Learn from me, and you'll be able to soar through the air on your own. Ultimately, you're closest to me, so you'll obviously choose me. Right, the young doctor asked in return. But I've heard that learning martial arts depends heavily on one's innate talent, and that one must start training from an early age, typically around 7. Uncle Seo spoke. In that case, we must first check your condition. Would you allow me to examine the state of your body? He then began a thorough examination of the boy's body, inspecting him carefully from head to toe. I will now channel my true chi into you. Do not be alarmed. But as the energy flowed, his expression hardened. It is as I feared. It is already too late. Byung-chuk became anxious. What is it? Is there a problem? I'm afraid it will be impossible for him to master any supreme martial arts. Dr. Dan's aptitude is this. Ordinary. How can that be? Uncle Seo placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. Do not worry. The saying, even a slow horse can travel 1,000 miles, exists for a reason. Where natural talent falls short, relentless effort must fill the void. It means even the ungifted, through sheer diligence, can surpass a born genius. Of course, that's only if a true master guides them. I myself am living proof. So have faith in my words. The old master asked, was my own potential not just as humble? That is precisely why you should learn from me. I, who rose from mediocrity to become the strongest under the heavens, understand that grueling path better than anyone alive. He pointed a finger, declaring, follow my way. And one day you too will claim the title of the world's greatest martial artist. However, Han Seol-hwa wasn't convinced. Something about this is highly suspicious. Suspicious? What nonsense are you spouting now? I told you there was no need to probe further. Yet you insist on this foolishness. She suddenly seized the boy's wrist, channeling her energy to examine him. Then, before the two men's astonished eyes, she pulled him into a fierce embrace. This one is mine. The old master immediately protested. Didn't you just say you wanted no part in these childish games? I've had a change of heart, she declared. With a martial body of this caliber, how could I possibly entrust him to you? Pham Thuk also chimed in. What are you saying? You claimed he was ordinary. Were you trying to deceive me? The old master coughed lightly. Then let us return to the original plan. Let the young alchemist decide for himself whose martial arts he will learn. Pham Thuk spoke with utter confidence. My dear brother, you should just withdraw. The moment you tested him with your fire, you were already out of the running. And you, witch, you're disqualified too. Why? Because you never even offered to teach him in the first place. The two immediately began to argue. Now that this child's true potential has been revealed, leaving him in your hands would be the height of irresponsibility. My conscience as a warrior won't allow it. Conscience, you, who changes your words with the wind. Hand the alchemist over. Try and take him from me. She challenged. So you want to settle this with force? Fine, let's finally decide who is superior. The victor becomes the alchemist's master. How about a duel, using only pure techniques? The deceitful braggart should just step aside. The first master grumbled. The boy pointed to himself and asked, do I truly have a talent for martial arts, the old master explained, his voice trembling with awe. A talent unseen for generations. Your very foundation makes the word geniuses seem utterly pale. Even the most demanding of the 9 great sects wouldn't dare compare their prized disciples to you, Han Seol-hwa added. Forget the Ren and Du meridians. His gate of life and death is already completely open. His 8 extraordinary vessels and 12 meridians are all perfectly tempered. It's simply incomprehensible how this is possible. After hearing this, the boy just smiled. So that's what it was. They stared at him. You mean, you already knew? I had some idea, he replied. My mother told me that while I was in her womb, she constantly consumed spiritual medicines. The moment I was born, I underwent a complete marrow cleansing. And as a child, I was raised on precious elixirs while my parents used acupuncture to fortify my body. Upon hearing this, the 3 masters' eyes blazed with desire. This was, without a doubt, a peerless martial genius. He absolutely had to choose a single, dedicated master. It was the only way, as their martial arts were unique and could not be mixed. The boy hesitated for a long time, unable to decide between the 3 of them. In the end, he decided not to learn martial arts at all, leaving all 3 of them utterly shocked. What did you say? But why, they demanded. He smiled gently. If I choose one of you as my master, the other 2 will surely feel hurt. And that is a feeling I would never wish to cause. I much prefer things as they are now, with all of us together. That evening, the 3 masters met in private to discuss. What a tragedy, such a waste, for his talent to go undeveloped. It's a crime against the heavens. There must be a way to change his mind. Right. Han Seol-hwa spoke up. Why must he officially become a disciple, even if he won't accept me as his master? I still want to teach him. Have you gone mad to pass down our sacred techniques to someone who isn't even a formal disciple? What's the problem? It's my martial art. I'll pass it on to whomever I choose. Uncle Pham began to waver, thinking he had a point. Did he truly need to be a formal disciple? Such reckless words. Do you feel no shame before your late master? Shame. What is there to be ashamed of? My master had only one wish to see his martial arts reach its absolute pinnacle, and the physician is more than capable of achieving that. From the great beyond, our master would rejoice. Is he not our benefactor? What is a mere martial art in comparison? A mere martial art. That technique is my very life essence. Han Seol-hwa's sudden question silenced first uncle. So then, who was the one who saved your life? But he remained stubborn. This was a line he absolutely could not cross. Yet, by the next morning, first uncle himself was discovered secretly passing on his limitless primal true chi to Dan Ak-seon. However, the boy revealed that it wasn't just him. The other 2 had done the exact same thing. First, it was great aunt. Then, first uncle. And finally, Uncle Pham. And just like that, the 3 of them were at each other's throats again. Have these lunatics lost their minds? Are you trying to kill the child? What if he suffers from chi deviation, first brother? You have no right to say such a thing. Please, do not argue. My internal energy is not yet at a level where chi deviation is a risk. Now that I understand the core principles, I feel I've also come to understand the bonds between the 3 of you. This should be beneficial for your treatment. First, uncle warned with great concern. Then you must not channel all the internal arts at once. Your meridians will fall into chaos, don't worry. I am a physician. Would I do something that would harm my own body? I've just had an interesting idea. Let's research this together. Research. Did he mean study their martial arts? Yes. Precisely. Great aunt's art is of the extreme yin, while Uncle Pham's is of the extreme yang. This is why your yin and yang energies are in disarray. First, uncle's is completely different. His technique focuses on harmony and balance, which is excellent. If we combine our research on all 3 arts, it will not only aid in your treatment, but it will also lead to a breakthrough in martial arts. What do you say? But first uncle was still uneasy. Physician Dan. These are secret clan techniques. The boy replied, my parents were once the same. They acknowledged each other's skills, but refused to share their medical knowledge because their paths were so vastly different. Then one day, they encountered a patient who seemed beyond saving. A patient neither the divine doctor nor the demonic doctor could cure alone. He was suffering from a chronic, grave illness, and had also been poisoned. When they tried to force the poison out, he suffered a severe chi deviation. The situation was hopeless, but in the end, they saved him. It was the first time they joined forces, arguing endlessly, but by debating and sharing their experiences. They brought the patient back from the brink of death. Hearing this, the three masters had a thought. After all, none of them were ordinary martial artists. Their techniques were indeed worth studying. Uncle Pham declared, "Let's take the risk. If Physician Dan says to do it, we do it." Han Seol-hwa added, "If it proves useful, then there is no reason not to. Then from now on, let us study our arts together." First, Uncle asked, "So, you intend to study all three and choose the most superior technique to cultivate?" "No. I will cultivate the art that we all create together." This was no longer a simple study session. He wanted to create an entirely new school of martial arts. With the mastery of the three of you, I believe I can also contribute. And what if you fail to create this new art? He picked up the medicine pot and declared, "Then I will never learn martial arts." He then departed, leaving them in stunned silence. The three began their discussion. Primal chaos gives birth to the limitless. Without a fixed form, there can be no boundaries. Elder brother, that constant ebb and flow, repeating and advancing. That is the very root and essence of the Myeongrang power. Uncle Pham asked, "Could that be the chant for your internal energy technique?" "First brother, if we're going to do this, let's go all the way. For that boy, he is pouring his heart and soul into helping us. I cannot betray the faith he has placed in me. I feel the same. The only one I wish to pass my arts to is the divine doctor, and no one else. I refuse to let him down." And just like that, an unspoken pact was forged between the three of them. The very next day, Fong Chan Thon appeared on the mountain. The path remained as treacherous as he remembered. It had been far too long. This was the scenery he constantly yearned for. He could almost hear his master's voices scolding him right now. Suddenly, Pham Thuk appeared, blocking his way. "Hey, freeze, who are you?" "That's a question I should be asking. How did you find this place? Give me the truth, before I decide to smash your head in." A cold sweat dripped down Fong Chanthon's face. "Please inform the young Valley Master that Fong Chanthon is here to see him." "The young Valley Master? You mean the Divine Doctor?" "Yes. The master of this Valley of Gods and Demons. Were you sent by the Murim Alliance?" "No. I'm just an old acquaintance of the young Valley Master." So Thuk appeared from behind. "If the Divine Doctor claims not to know you, leaving here alive will be quite difficult. I'm only asking you to pass on the message." Thankfully, Dan Ak-seon ran out just in time. "Uncle, please wait a moment. He's an acquaintance of mine. Have you been well all this time, and it's not young Valley Master?" "You should just call me Valley Master now. Old habits die hard, I suppose?" Han Tuyet-hoa asked. "He's an acquaintance of the Divine Doctor." "Yes. This man was once a disciple of my parents. He's not a bad person. So please, lower your killing intent. What brings you all the way here so unexpectedly?" He questioned Fong Thuk, realizing that his unannounced visit meant their hidden sanctuary was now exposed. Fong Thuk answered in fear, "I had no idea the Valley Master would have company. Let alone this many people." The two went into a room to speak privately. "You must have been quite startled earlier. Those are patients staying here for treatment. Their conditions are quite unusual. All this time, you kept your distance because you wanted to stand on your own 2 feet. I understood that much. But recently, it seemed to go too far. I'm sorry. It was never because I grew to hate you. Uncle Fong. Those individuals from before. Were they the Blood Hand Venerable and the young master of Wangsang? So they really are staying here?" The boy asked, stunned. "How did you know?" He replied, "Rumors of the Blood Hand Venerable have been shaking the martial world. Plus, the herbs you requested caught my attention. They are only used for the most critical injuries. After thinking it through for a while, their names were the only ones that came to mind. And to hear the young master of Wangsang was with him is shocking. But you're only saving those at death's door. How could saving a life be wrong? On the contrary. Valley Master, what you're doing is truly admirable. Valley Master, please, allow me to lend you my aid. I have discovered the secret you've been hiding. Do you intend to cast me out of the sect now? I don't want you to be in danger because of me." "Uncle, I understand your worries. Young Valley Master, that is why I made arrangements before coming. I suspected you might go to the Murim Alliance about the evil purging brigade. While I was there, I personally vouched for your identity. They had no choice but to trust me." "How is that even possible?" the boy asked. "What is your relationship with the Murim Alliance?" He placed a hand over his heart. "They are the most important clients of our Chanthon Medical House. I am currently treating the Murim Lord's youngest daughter. Outside, the three were whispering among themselves. So it's true. He really has ties to the Murim alliance. It seems his relationship with the Divine Doctor is genuine after all. The Chanthan Medical House. Its power and reputation have been growing fiercely. These two idiots were clearly out of the loop. Fong Thok continued. If the Valley Master becomes an enemy of the Alliance, then I will become their enemy as well. You and I are in the same boat now. Why would you go to such lengths for me? Didn't I already tell you? Who in their right mind would abandon their own family? If you chase me away now, how is that any different from sending me to my death? The Valley Master won't expel you. So don't worry. My apologies. It seems you've suffered greatly because of me. Haven't you? How could you even say that? You all must be in need of medicinal herbs. Right, from this day forward. Just leave everything to me. Hearing this, the young man's face lit up. Thank you, Uncle Fong. In that case, please find me some sky-clear stone oil. Sky-clear stone oil is a jewel-like essence formed from the very energy of the earth itself. A spiritual medicine so precious. Its value is beyond imagination. Sky-clear stone oil. You mean that stuff? Are you joking? But seeing the look of eager anticipation in the young Valley Master's eyes, he knew this was no joke. Outside, Uncle Seo decided to depart. His business here was done, so it was time to go home. This old man gets to lay his eyes on sky-clear stone oil. Something I never believed was in my destiny to see. You can't obtain something like that just by asking. It's like handing someone a turnip and demanding a legendary mountain ginseng in return. That evening, Dan Ak-seon had just finished treating Uncle Pham. As he was preparing to leave, he unexpectedly crossed paths with Fong Jin-sung. I was unable to offer you a proper greeting earlier. My name is Fong Jin-sung. Though I am from the humble Fong family, I run a small clinic called the Jin-sung Medical Hall. Uncle Pham scoffed. And what of it? I know you are close to Physician Dan. So let me advise you to be careful. I don't understand what you mean. Don't you dare think of exploiting a naive child who knows nothing of the world's ways. He raised his fist, his voice a low, menacing growl. Try anything funny, and I guarantee you'll meet your end at my hands. Fong Jin-sung thought to himself, it's not as if I trust you people so easily either. A patient is neither righteous nor evil. But the title of the 10 great villains is a fact. I will be watching you closely. Seeing him, Dan Ak-seon asked, Uncle Fong, you haven't rested yet, it's already so late. I came because there is something I must ask you. I heard that your respected parents once treated a case of pulse severance syndrome. Do you still have the case files from back then? The boy replied. Of course. May I please see those medical records? I'm afraid that will be difficult. He explained, because nothing was written down. At the time, my parents were completely devoted to the treatment and had no time for pen and ink. However, I still remember everything. Who is the patient currently suffering from this illness? Who is it? The youngest daughter of the Martial Alliance Lord. The boy stroked his chin. For pulse severance to manifest after she turned 15, those afflicted with the 9 yin severed pulse usually die in the womb. Even if they're fortunate enough to be born, they rarely survive a year. That patient must have the 7 yin or 5 yin severed pulse. The issue is that a cure is nowhere in sight. Pouring endless spiritual herbs into her is only barely prolonging her life. The boy looked at him and said, in that case, your approach has been wrong from the very beginning. What? The severed pulse is not the root cause. It is a result, a symptom that appears because of another underlying disease. That is precisely why all the physicians have been unable to cure her until now. You were wrong from the very start. You must treat the source of the illness. How can you cure her by focusing only on the symptoms? Fong Jin-sung held his head in his hands. Because these are mostly rare diseases I have never encountered. I became too reliant on the ancient healing texts. I hadn't even realized how rigid my thinking had become. Don't blame yourself. My parents also struggled for a long time before they realized that truth. The boy then asked, this was long ago. But do you remember? The patient whom my parents nearly gave up on, saying he couldn't be saved. Yes, I remember him. That llama. On top of his countless ailments, he was also afflicted by a potent poison. He struggled to fight the poison and ended up suffering a chi deviation. Are you referring to him? That's the one. The boy held up one finger, asserting, his symptoms were remarkably similar to the severed pulse. That was the first time my parents ever worked together in perfect sync to save a life. That case led my parents to discover the cure for the severed pulse. So that's how it was. Then why was I never taught this method? I wasn't taught. Either. I simply observed the two of them and learned it myself. It's a shame I was away from the valley for a while. It couldn't be helped. A case of severed meridians is anything but common. Fong Chan-than thought to himself. Only the valley master knew the cure. Is there truly another physician with skills rivaling his? In any case, seeking the valley master was the right choice. It felt as if the fog before his eyes was finally beginning to clear. The next morning, while everyone was still asleep, Dan Ak-seon ran over cheerfully to wake them up. Uncle. Auntie. I've figured out the cause and the symptoms. I've fallen into a trap. A trap? What do you mean? A trap hidden in the verses, they asked in a flurry. The boy explained. Just as every person's constitution is different, so are the chi pathways within their bodies. The major meridians are mostly the same, but the location of the minor ones can vary slightly. Naturally, the founder of this internal energy technique had a different constitution than all of you. Yet, by forcing your chi to follow the manual's verses exactly, a small deviation between theory and practice was born. The deeper your internal energy becomes, the wider that deviation grows, eventually destroying the body's balance and causing these after effects. Pham Thuk asked, but why am I the only one suffering from this? My master never showed any signs. Was it because his master had never reached Pham Thuk's level of power? Auntie's minor meridians in her arm are blocked, while uncle's blockage is in his neck. Because of this, the chi that was supposed to follow those minor pathways back to the dantian was sent astray, scattering to places it should never go. That is the true source of your ailments. Just then, Fong Chan-than approached. Valley Master. What you're saying must be true. The mistake I told you about. I'm guilty of it myself. I should have sought the root cause to cure it completely. But I was only treating the symptoms. As he spoke, the boy gestured with his hands. The real problem lies here. The sacred verses of the technique don't match the body's actual pathways. They are completely misaligned. Thinking it over, his theory seemed perfectly logical. The internal energy techniques of both patients traced back to ancient, almost mythical origins. Even a father and son with the same bloodline have different constitutions, let alone complete strangers. The practitioners changed with each generation, but the sacred verses remained the same. It was inevitable that a problem would arise. But my senior brother is fine. He shows no side effects at all. Their techniques are much closer to the raw, original form, the boy replied. But my primordial chaos infinite chi was compiled by later generations. They studied countless techniques, refining them and compensating for errors. Naturally, it has fewer side effects. Are you bragging about something you didn't even create? Someone teased. Who said I created it? Han Seol-hwa asked. Now that you know the cause, can they be cured? The boy bowed his head. Because the reason is clear. A complete cure is likely possible. But there is one major obstacle. What is it? He looked up with a helpless expression. We'll need a massive amount of spiritual medicine. Far more than what we're currently using. You need even more spiritual medicine than this. We have to guide the chi through the correct meridians. But those true pathways have been unused for so long. They've become blocked and atrophied. Moreover, their bodies have grown accustomed to the flawed technique. To unblock the true pathways and fix this will require an immense amount of medicine. Suddenly remembering something, Fong Chan-than spoke up. The Martial Alliance has a vast supply of spiritual medicine. They're herbs the Alliance leader gathered from all over the Central Plains to treat his youngest daughter. If the Valley Master agrees to treat the young lady, I'm certain we could obtain even the highest grade spiritual medicines with ease. I admit, I am curious about that patient's condition, the boy mused. But if things continue as they are, that child will surely die. Using spiritual medicine to merely prolong her life has already reached its absolute limit. Pham Thuk suddenly cut in. Wait a moment. Divine Doctor. Are you saying you want to treat the daughter of the Martial Alliance leader? The evil-shattering sect caused us unimaginable suffering. Have you already forgotten that? How could you possibly know of such things? I have never spoken a word of it. He stammered. Well, while I was out walking, I came across a hunter in the village. He told me that things were incredibly chaotic back then. Is that not so? So Thuk thought to himself, how could the daughter of the Martial Alliance leader possibly travel to this remote land all alone? She must have countless attendants and warriors with her. This is not good. Doesn't that mean the divine doctor must go to the patient himself? You cannot leave the God Demon Valley, because the treatment for your uncle and aunt cannot be delayed. But for this problem, there is a perfect solution. Fong Tranthan gestured toward the three of them, saying, "Why not have these esteemed individuals accompany him on the journey?" Accompany him? Famthuk immediately objected. Are you trying to order me around? Do you have a death wish? The youngest daughter of the Martial Alliance leader will surely die without the Valley Master's healing arts. Saving her is the path that benefits everyone. That may be true, but I can't guarantee I'll control myself if I see the Martial Alliance leader. The moment I lay eyes on him, I'll smash his skull in. For the Valley Master's sake, I hope you will approve this journey. So Thuk asked, what are your true intentions? Phom Tranthan replied, because the only person who can grant an absolute pardon is the leader of the Martial Alliance. If the unexpected were to happen, only that pardon could guarantee the Valley Master's safety. The unexpected? You mean, regarding our relationship? If we were to be exposed, the Divine Doctor would have a guaranteed way out. In that case, we must do it. If it concerns the safety of our Divine Doctor, then of course Han Tuyet Hoa will not refuse. My deepest thanks. Then I shall prepare to travel with the Valley Master. Wait a moment. If we are to go, we should go with cheerful hearts. Divine Doctor, let's treat this as a grand adventure. His expression brightened instantly. I've never been on a real journey before. To go with you, uncles, would make me so happy. Does this mean we'll even sleep out under the stars? I am definitely going. If the Divine Doctor wishes to go, then of course we must. And wherever the doctor goes, the patients have no choice but to follow. Then let's prepare at once. Afterwards, he went to find the pawnshop owner to discuss some business. I've brought a great many wooden statues today. The more, the better. I am eternally grateful. I was just panicking because I was about to run out of stock. Outside, Famthuk arrived with a cart piled high with figures. The shipment has grown quite a bit. Any hasn't it? Yes. Because I fear it may be a while before I can visit again. The owner asked if something was the matter. He replied, I've decided to go on a journey. A journey to where? To Wuhan. In Hubei. When will you return? That's hard to say for sure. Since this is my first trip, I have no idea how long it will take. Well, I suppose it can't be helped. Just be sure to send word when you return. Yes. Uncle. Please don't worry. The owner waved as Dan Ak-seon departed. Travel safely. He waved back in return. You take care of your health too. Uncle. On the way back, Famthuk asked, you seem to like him a great deal. Don't you? Yes, he even paid a higher price just to help with my travel funds. I'm rich now, when the Divine Doctor is happy. I am happy too. The following day, everyone altered their appearances slightly to prepare for the road ahead. Famthuk even shaved his beard and put on a wig. He clapped the boy's shoulder, asking, well, doesn't this wig make me look 10 years younger? And you? Why are you just standing over there with no disguise at all? Han Tuyet Hoa replied coolly, I have no need for a disguise. Because unlike some people, I have never done anything that would make my face known to the world. But the one with the most incredible disguise was Sothuk. Even Dan Ak-seon could barely recognize him. The item he used was a skin-like phantom mask. Such flawless work. When did you make this? That wasn't my doing. The demon face. I took it from him. You mean the one they called the Master of Disguise? Now that you mention it. It's been ages since anyone's heard a whisper. Perhaps he vanished from the world. He's dead. When did that happen? Around 5 years ago. How would you know that? Senior CO, Uncle CO, replied with a chilling calm. Because I'm the one who killed him. So that's how it ended up in your possession. A truly enviable prize. What kind of man do you take me for, to think I would end his life over a mere trinket like that? Relax. There's no need for formalities between us. Nearby, Han Seol-hwa quickly covered the young boy's ears, shielding him from the chilling, blood-soaked conversation of the two men. Let me ask you this. If an impostor wore your face, deceiving the world as the young master of Wangshan, what would you do? What I'd crush his skull without a second thought. Just then, Peng Jinsong stepped forward and said, Valley Lord, I must take my leave now. We will meet again. Uncle Peng thought to himself, how strange. These men were once known as the 10 great evils of the martial world. And yet, the way they looked at the Valley Lord held not a single shred of malice. Could they truly be those legendary villains? For now, all he could do was trust them and press on. The scene shifts to a dense forest, where the boy was diligently gathering medicinal herbs, while the two men conversed behind him. But senior brother, is this really all right? What are you on about now? I mean, our original route would have gotten us there in a single day. Correct. At this leisurely pace, I fear the journey will take far, far longer. And what of it? A journey like this has its own unique pleasures. He was right. It was peaceful. Serena, yet strangely, not the least bit dull. The boy soon returned. Let's make dinner here. He then headed to a stream to wash the wild vegetables he had just gathered. Seeing this, Uncle Pham commented, "You call yourself a wanderer. But are we to survive on wild greens alone? A long journey requires real stamina. That's why I gathered all these energy-boosting herbs. Still, we'll need some meat to truly regain our strength." While Uncle Co was setting up, he added, "Then I shall start the fire and pitch the tents." A short while later, Uncle Pham returned, triumphantly holding a wild boar. "The main course has arrived. What do you think? This one is a fine, fat specimen." "No." The group quickly gathered around a roaring fire to roast the meat. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the feast was ready. The pill fiend ate until he could barely move. "I can't possibly eat another bite. My thanks for the meal." The boy suddenly noticed a faint light in the distance. "It seems we're not the only ones camping here tonight. Now that we've eaten, how about a short walk? Let's investigate." He and Uncle Co began to stroll towards the distant glow. It didn't take long to find its source. A large caravan had made camp for the night. The banner flying from the lead carriage was an escort flag. It seemed they were guards from a security agency. The moment the boy and Uncle Co emerged from the trees, the entire camp went on high alert. "I don't believe we're very welcome here." Encountering uninvited guests during an escort mission is never a pleasant experience for them. "Is that always the case?" Uncle Co explained. "Their security is tied directly to the safety of their cargo and their own lives. Because of that, they prefer to keep their movements a secret. Being this cautious, especially at night, is simply standard procedure." Understanding the situation, the boy tugged on his uncle's sleeve. "Then we should head back." But just then, a faint aroma drifted on the wind. His eyes widened as he recognized the scent of a priceless spirit herb. The 9-branched immortal leaf herb. You can smell its fragrance from all the way over here. Perhaps I can ask the owner of the cargo if they'd be willing to sell the herbs separately. But that's probably impossible. Never mind the astronomical price. But the escort agency would never trade its cargo without the client's express permission. He thought to himself, "Do you really think you can just claim every spirit herb you see?" Seo-suk suddenly recognized those faces. He was certain he had seen them before. Stroking his beard, he chuckled. "Wait. If that's the case, then the three of them were secretly tailing the escort convoy." Pham-suk also saw the familiar faces. It's the twin fiends of the three ends. Those rats are notoriously hard to kill. In the Underworld, they've certainly carved out a reputation. "What are you talking about? Against me? They wouldn't last even 10 breaths. That's only because you're a master of the highest caliber. But if you were to rank the top 100 masters in the entire martial world, their names would barely make the list. Regardless, their presence here means the 9-branched divine leaf herb is likely in that cargo, and they're disguised as escorts to steal it." "Right. For scum like them. That sounds about right. But there could be other treasures as well. A delivery isn't always limited to a single item. So why can't we just take it for ourselves?" The apothecary would never approve. "What's the alternative?" "Quiet. They're on the move. We need to prepare. Their direction seems to match ours. We'll follow and wait for an opening. But keep this from the apothecary for now." The two men stealthily trailed the group. "Where is the apothecary?" "He's with the madam, examining the local medicinal herbs." "Who the hell are these guys? It's been 3 days of just lurking around. When are they going to make a move?" "That's it. I'm going over there to crack their skulls." "Hold on, what are you going to tell the apothecary? That we should just sit and wait forever? Or perhaps..." "It's the complete opposite," the clever apothecary interjected. "They weren't hired as escorts. They're the ones who hired the agency. They are the clients who commissioned this very delivery. And now they've disguised themselves as guards to protect it directly." "Yes. That is a definite possibility. As expected of our brilliant apothecary." "Wait a minute. How long have you been listening?" "Since you said, 'Who the hell are these guys?'" Seo-suk replied. "How did you know?" the young man answered. "How could I not know? We've been together for the past 3 days. I have a proposal. If they try to steal the cargo, we will return it to its rightful owner. Perhaps doing so would create a chance for us to form a connection. But what if your theory is correct? Apothecary. What if they are the ones who hired the escort agency? Then our hands are tied. The item simply isn't fated to be ours. And we'll have to give up. At his words, the two men exchanged a look. And So-suk spoke. Apothecary. As luck would have it, we may already have a connection. Pham-suk here is quite familiar with them. Pham-suk pointed to himself confidently. That's right. I'm the one who saved their lives. Just leave this to me. He mused to himself. I was going to kill them, but it was too much trouble, so I let them live. But hey, sparing a life still counts. Right. That night, while the escort convoy was deep in sleep, the two suspicious figures suddenly sensed a potent killing intent. Their instincts screamed danger, and without a second of hesitation, they bolted into the forest. However, Pham-suk had been waiting for them all along. Fear gripped their hearts. Is that really the little devil of Mount Wang? Why is that madman here? For now, let's just hear what he has to say. Then we'll find a way out. Pham-suk's voice was a low growl. The 9-branch divine leaf herb. That belongs to you, doesn't it? How did you know? Just as I thought. His eyes glowed red. Hand it over to me, and I will walk away without a sound. The two of them stumbled backward in pure terror. His appearance was different. But those deranged eyes? It was unmistakably him. One wrong move meant certain death. The skinny one finally relented. We yield. Was it really that simple? Brother, I'll bring it immediately. The portly man took a seat. All right. I understand. If he fails to return, you can have my head. Pham-suk watched them, thinking. Were they that desperate? This was all happening far too easily. So easy. In fact, that it was unsettling. Something was definitely off. It felt like walking into a trap he couldn't see yet. What is it? You're asking humble men like us, just watch. Something is clearly amiss. A voice whispered from behind him, reminding him of an item even more crucial than the 9-branch immortal leaf herb. Pham-suk turned to the men. In that case, I'll take one more thing. Not the 9-branch immortal leaf herb, but something else. That item right there. And just like that, a night luminescent pearl was added to his spoils. Well then, we shall take our leave. And where do you think you're going, I'm asking? With all those treasures you're clutching, where could you possibly run? We're just trying to survive. Isn't that what everyone does? What do you mean by that? Not long ago, the Martial Alliance declared a great purge of the 100 great evils. The 100 great evils, not the 10 great evils. Yes, they created their own standards to select 100 new villains and announced they would hunt down every last one. And I take it you two are on that list. That's right. But even before we were named among the 100 evils, we were already on the list of the martial world's 100 great masters. In the Underworld, you could say we're top tier. Pham-suk chuckled. So, where do such renowned masters go to hide from the Martial Alliance? That is something we cannot disclose. Look at the nerve on these two. Suddenly, the box with the night luminescent pearl flew back into the skinny man's hands. Why are you giving this back to us? Take it. Consider it travel expenses. You said you were running for your lives, didn't you? I am your senior. After all, how could I cruelly send you off empty-handed? The two men were stunned. Wait a minute. Isn't this the very thing we just gave him? And yet, having it stolen and then returned somehow makes us feel incredibly grateful. We should use this trick next time. After the two figures finally disappeared, Han Seol-hwa and So-suk slowly emerged from the shadows. I wonder what secret they were so desperate to protect. Indeed, they don't seem like the type to be so tight-lipped. Perhaps there's a secret gathering point for their kind. And what does that have to do with us? You have a point. So-suk frowned. The 100 great evils. You say. The Martial Alliance is getting more and more out of hand. Senior brother, why don't we use this chance to turn the Martial Alliance headquarters upside down and make the Alchemist Master a public enemy of the entire martial world? Absolutely not. That would be a disaster. The next morning, Dan Ak-seon was beaming, clutching the box with a huge smile on his face. Thank you. Uncle, thank you. Auntie, what's got you in such a good mood? You look like you're holding all the elixirs in the world. Pham-suk then made a suggestion. Let's make our Alchemist Master the greatest owner of rare elixirs. A brilliant idea, don't you think? But how would we do that? I haven't thought that far ahead. Where there is a will, There is a way. Now that we have the goal, we can slowly figure out the method. The group continued their journey to Chang'an City in Shaanxi Province. The three of them stepped into a roadside tea house. Dan Ak-seon was amazed. This tea house is huge. Are we waiting for Uncle Peng here? In all of Shaanxi, a place of this scale would easily rank among the top 3. I see. Is that why it's so crowded? So Thuk observed quietly. But something is strange. Despite the crowd, there's no laughter, no lively chatter at all. And what's more, every single pair of eyes in this room is fixed directly on us. Their gazes were piercing cold, filled with killing intent. Was this a trap? The Wulin Alliance, if they're plotting something, we need to understand the situation before making a move. It seems they weren't waiting for us. Those men. They look like they're from the Wulin Alliance. Pham Thuk's attention was suddenly drawn to another man. One with a weary face and dark rings around his eyes. Isn't that Tu Vo Tam? You know of him. In this region, he's infamous as the Money Demon. The Money Demon. It's said that all who meet him tremble before his bottomless greed. It's how he earned the title. The Hoarder Demon of Wealth. His obsession with money is truly on another level. Even so, Hun's extreme stinginess is nothing in comparison. Just then, Tu Vo Tam abruptly turned and stormed out of the tea house. Seeing this, the men immediately drew their weapons and gave chase. Damn it, after him. So, he was the one the Wulin Alliance was after. It seems so. Though he belongs to the demonic sect, there's no obvious reason for the Alliance to be hunting him. Whispers rippled from a nearby table. Isn't that the Hoarder Demon of Wealth? So he's the reason Nam Chao has been in chaos. I heard every demon hunting party in the area has gathered to capture him. The Wulin Alliance, you haven't heard. A while ago, the Alliance declared him one of the 100 great evils marked for death. Pham Thuk recalled that while Tu Vo Tam's methods were ruthless, he wasn't a fundamentally evil person. He had apparently taken in over 1,000 orphans. Yet he was branded as one of the great evils. What do we do now? Just stand by and watch them hunt him down. If we interfere rashly, our entire group will be placed in a terrible position. Seeing Pham Thuk grip his head, Dan Ak-seon asked with concern. Is something wrong? My head is pounding. That foul stench. It's splitting my skull. At that very moment, Fong Chanthan made his appearance. My apologies for the delay. Welcome, everyone. And who might these gentlemen be? He began the introductions. These are the esteemed warriors of the Mount Hua sect. They will be our escorts to the Wulin Alliance. I caught the faint scent of 100-year-old dust. It had to be the Mount Hua sect. Upon hearing that, the faces of the Mount Hua disciples immediately darkened. Just as Fong Chanthan was about to explain, the other man suddenly let out a laugh. To travel with such a silver-tongued master, this long journey will surely not be dull. Come and introduce yourselves. These are the esteemed physicians of the Chanthan Medical House, a third-generation disciple of the Mount Hua sect. Dan Ak-seon pays his respects to the physicians of the Chanthan Medical House. So Thuk's eyes lit up. Dan Ak-seon. He vaguely recalled hearing of the 24 Plum Blossom Swordmasters who were the pillars of the Mount Hua sect, and the one who stood at the very top of them all was the Plum Blossom Sword General, Dan Ak-seon. It was shocking to see someone so powerful be so young. Dan Ak-seon spoke again. From now on, we shall escort you to the Wulin Alliance. But why would a Plum Blossom Swordmaster personally handle this task? Even if this causes you some inconvenience, the aura in this region has become dangerously unpredictable lately. If any harm were to befall you in the very lands our sect was founded, would that not bring great shame upon our name? For that reason, we ask for your understanding. Very well. We will be in your care then. As everyone sat down around the table for tea, the man asked Dan Ak-seon, what is your position at the Chanthan Medical House? This is the young master of my own respected teacher. His family name is Dan, and his given name is Ak-seon. I'm assistant, Dan Ak-seon. Am honored to meet you all. He's the son of the divine hand saintly doctor. Though he is young, his medical arts are so profound that even I struggle to keep pace. It is said that even the imperial physicians of the royal court must bow to his skill. For even a man like Fong Chanthan to admit his talent was truly astonishing. Then, it was the two uncles' turn to be introduced. These two were scholars from the medical arts family, known as the masters of string and wind instruments. They were the ones with the sharp tongues from earlier. With them along for the journey, it seemed protecting these youngsters wouldn't be so dull after all. We've spent our entire lives in seclusion, they explained, focused solely on our research. Our social graces may be lacking, so we ask for your understanding. Not at all, a voice replied. The great masters who guard the mountain valleys are known for their eccentricities. Who would dare compare? We are quite used to it. Please, don't give it a second thought. Our thanks. But just as Fong Tranthun was about to introduce Han Seol-hwa, a sudden uproar echoed from outside. There he is, seize him, is that Sa Mu-sim, the fugitive who just escaped? Why is he still lingering around here? How should I know? What a pain. What's going on? It's a warrior from the Murim alliance. Sa Mu-sim, the one they call the Ghost of Avarice, has been spotted. So that's what all the chaos was about. Myung-jeom rose to his feet, ready to investigate. But his granduncle held him back with a steady hand. Do not interfere. This is not a matter for you to get involved in. That is their duty. Your duty, in the name of our sect, is to attend to our honored guests. This disciple was rash and has acted disgracefully. I beg your forgiveness. What's more important, the elder continued, is that in this world, there are no eternal allies or enemies, though we travel together now with a common purpose. The Murim alliance and the Hwasan sect can never truly be one and the same. Dan Ak-seon suddenly interjected, his voice laced with clear displeasure for the alliance. He challenged, can the wills of all men truly be united as one? Is there some disagreement, granduncle? There are many eyes and ears here. Since when did we have to concern ourselves with the stares of others? But those vipers from the Hachon faction only know how to twist words for their own gain. Should we not be vigilant? It makes no difference. Dan Ak-seon declared, truth is truth. The Murim alliance of today has gone too far. Their arrogance has been festering for a long time. The noble spirit that once sought peace in the martial world. When did it vanish so completely? As the old saying goes, dewdrops gather to form a sea. When sins pile upon sins, do they not realize they will one day build a burden too great to bear? Elder Pham looked astonished. I thought you lived buried in the deep mountains, ignorant of worldly affairs. I never imagined your insight ran so deep. The granduncle explained. As a first-generation disciple of Hwasan, this level of understanding is to be expected. He then turned, what is the young divine doctor's opinion on this? The boy replied with the wisdom of an old man. Though I am young and know little, I was once taught that a sickness does not distinguish between the righteous and the wicked. It does not distinguish. What do you mean by that? Another question followed immediately. My apologies. That was rude. If you find it difficult to answer, please don't feel pressured. But the boy replied calmly. It is fine. After all, I was the one who spoke first. When I say it does not distinguish, I mean that the ocean accepts all rivers without refusal. The elder's eyes lit up. Little divine doctor, you dream of a spirit as vast as the sea itself. Then let me ask you just one thing. Have you ever considered why the sea is able to embrace all things? The boy answered without a hint of hesitation. Because the sea lies at the lowest place. The elder slammed his hand on the table with a joyous roar. Yes, that's it. A magnificent answer to a worthy question. This child, he is truly a miracle. Myung-jeom thought to himself. It was unheard of for his granduncle to acknowledge anyone so easily. The boy's answer was simple, almost childlike. Yet it held a depth that was impossible to fathom. But what was even more shocking was that his companions treated this moment as if it were completely ordinary, as if they had long grown accustomed to his incredible wisdom. The two uncles simply smiled. As expected of our divine doctor. Suddenly, the shouts from outside erupted once more, shattering the profound atmosphere and grating on their nerves. Don't let him escape. Get him now. The two uncles immediately stood up. Pardon us. We must visit the latrine for a moment. Where is the Duke headed? That guy's seriously backed up. He needs a friend to keep him company. It helps. Move things along. In a nearby forest, an injured Tuvo Tam gasped for breath against a tree. His pursuers were all dealt with. Save for one. Which bastards dare interfere with our business? A man on death's door asks far too many questions. Chapter 18. Seeing an opening, the last attacker made his move. He planned to take Tuvo Tam's life first, but So Thuk effortlessly intercepted the attack. He shattered my sword chi with his bare hands, from behind. Pham Thuk's voice suddenly cut in. Senior brother, the Dan physician warned you not to use your internal energy. The attacker flinched, instantly spinning around with a slash of his sword, but with a single, fluid motion. Pham Thuk sent both the man and his weapon flying. A cold dread filled Tuvo Tam as he thought, it's really them. This humble junior of the martial world, Tuvo Tam, greets the two great evil masters. How did you recognize us? A rare physique. and martial arts that have reached the absolute zenith. For a master of your caliber to address another as a brother, who in the entire martial world wouldn't know of you, fine. Just consider us never here. Understood. All of these men were killed by you. This junior will engrave your kindness into my very soul. So Thuk asked him, you must know the Martial Arts Alliance is hunting you. So why are you wandering around so brazenly? What's your reason? Are you treating us like a joke? Never. It's because the Martial Arts Alliance has something I must get back. A small wooden box. About this size. They ambushed my hideout and stole it. Now. I have no idea where it's hidden. What's in the box? Some legendary treasure, no. But to me, it's more precious than any treasure. Worth risking your life for. Yes. But as I said, I don't know where it is. Then let it go. Nothing is more valuable than your life. He bowed his head and replied, this junior will remember that. And what about the children you've taken in? They are safe. You need to start worrying about yourself with at least half the energy you devote to those kids. I've never seen a busybody who managed to live a long life. With their business concluded, the two quickly departed. Senior brother, you used internal energy back there, didn't you? Just a tiny bit. I only channeled a little to my fingertips. That's all. You're always calling me a fool. Yet you're the one who forgot the Dan physician's orders so quickly. Well, I couldn't exactly block that terrifying wave of sword chi with my bare flesh. Could I? I'm telling the Dan physician. Then I suppose you'll have to report everything we did here. Won't you? Of course not. Try to use that brain of yours for once. Is that head on your shoulders just for show? So, what's the plan now? What plan could there be that evening? The two suddenly appeared in Fong Chan-than's room, startling him out of his wits. Where is the beautiful woman? What, you just let her walk away like that? What could I do? She just up and left on her own. Good grief. We can only pray she doesn't cause any trouble. All right. Now that the witch is gone, this is our chance. Chance? A chance for what? Pham Thuk declared. To visit the Flower Moon Pavilion? Is that seriously all you can think about? Of course. The only other thing on my mind is the Dan physician. Before So Thuk could even protest, Pham Thuk had already thrown him into the room and vanished. Moments later, he appeared at Dan Ak-seon's side. Dan, physician. Wake up. We have a place to be. In the dead of night, where could we possibly be going? To the place where you will be reborn as a true man. In another place, Han Tuyet Hoa and Dan Kiem sat facing each other. She spoke to him plainly. From tomorrow onwards, you no longer need to escort us. In other words, you are to return to your sect. I believe Mount Hua has demonstrated more than enough sincerity at this point. Forgive me, but that is not a decision I can make on my own. What if your presence itself has become an inconvenience to us? I am bound to obey the orders given by my sect. Such a stubborn child. Though perhaps you are past the age to be called that. Do I look that young to you? Come to think of it. I have yet to introduce myself. He cupped his fist in salute. Having just reached the age of manhood, I am a third-generation disciple of the Mount Hua sect, named Dan Kim. I am 20 years old. I believe I have heard your name before. If it isn't too discourteous, might I be so bold as to ask for the lady's name and age? How rude, she said, removing her veil. One should never ask for a woman's age. From the very beginning, this protection was completely unnecessary. In what world does a tiger need a rabbit as its guardian? Dan Kiem could only stare at her, lost for words, until her repeated question made him blush and finally respond. Are you listening to me? Yes, please. Continue. He stammered. If one were to name the 100 greatest masters in the martial world today, every member of the Plum Blossom Swordsman would be on that list. The Plum Blossom Swordsman. You say, I've seen that look in someone else's eyes before. The leader of the Plum Blossom Swordsman is called the Plum Blossom Sword General. The man who once held that title swore to me that if he could only capture my heart, he would cast aside that fleeting position and all its deceptions. He would throw everything away. He promised to cast off his sacred robes, renounce his vows, and follow me, clinging to me without end. The look in your eyes right now is identical to his. A flash of rage crossed Dan Kim's face. How absurd, he thought to himself. The former Plum Blossom Sword General is my own master. He would never betray Mount Hua for a mere woman. Do not dare tarnish my master's honor with such vile slander. I have never spoken a lie. This is your final warning. Mount Hua will not tolerate such humiliation. You refuse to believe me, and what if everything I've told you is the absolute truth? Will you withdraw your escort then? Do you dare take responsibility for that wager? Then how shall I bear it? What if I grant you a single wish? Would that suffice? One wish, he replied instantly. Then allow us to continue our escort. She merely raised an eyebrow. Is that truly all you desire? Dan Ak-seon placed a hand over his heart. Of course. Fairness is the first principle of any honorable wager. Is it not? As it happens, my master is currently visiting the Xi'an branch of the Murim alliance. The truth of this matter will be revealed soon enough. He called out to his men. Plum Blossom Swordsman. Go to my master at once. Report everything you have heard in this room. A clear voice replied. Understood, well then. While we await the results. Shall we sit and have some tea? A short while later, a man strode into the room. Dan Ak-seon hastily clasped his hands in a deep bow. Disciple Dan Ak-seon pays his respects to master. The man asked calmly. Who is the one who dared to insult my name? It was the guest from the Jinsong medical house. The one traveling with Peng Yun. But the moment he saw Han Seolhwa's face, his entire body froze. I feel like I've seen you somewhere before. Could it be Han? Seolhwa smiled. Indeed. I am that little crybaby from all those years ago. But... what did you just call me? You. The man immediately bowed his head in a display of profound respect. This late learner of the martial world, and head disciple of Mount Hua, Peng Hyun, pays his deepest respects to the great senior. Dan Ak-seon was thunderstruck. What? My master. Just called himself a late learner, my master. So it was true. Has the little child who used to hide in my robes and nuzzle his face against me for comfort truly disappeared? Senior, in front of my own disciple. I beg of you. Please show some consideration. Your disciple and I have made a little wager. A wager, you say? Did you truly believe my words were false? Feng Hyun broke into a cold sweat. Every word you spoke was absolute truth. Senior. And so, it seems I've won our little bet. Haven't I? If that's settled, what about your escort duty? Dan Ak-seon lowered his head in deference. I will withdraw at once. The little boy, who once bathed naked in the streams, has grown so much. Only after she vanished did Feng Hyun finally collapse into his seat. Letting out a heavy sigh, Dan Ak-seon turned to his master. Who in the world was that senior? The Ice Jade Fairy. A legend who occasionally graces the martial world. She is a senior to even our own grandmasters. A senior to our grandmasters, she might be even older. Yet her face bears no trace of time's passage. Could she have reached the legendary state of agelessness? Then the rumors were true. You truly intended to abandon the Mount Hua sect. For her. But didn't you just admit to it, or was that not you? It wasn't me. If not you, master. Then does that mean the sect leader himself? The great sect leader? How could that be possible? He warned Dan Ak-seon with grave intensity. What you heard today, you will take it to your graves. You are to never speak of this again. Understood. Meanwhile, Seolhwa was absolutely furious. She just learned the two uncles had dragged Dan Ak to a tavern to make money off his skills. You just returned from that tavern, didn't you? Did you let that child drink alcohol? No, of course not. Even I can't handle my liquor. Then why does the child look like he's about to collapse? Pham Thuk replied. Perhaps he overexerted himself. Seolhwa exploded. What did you say? You dared to overwork a mere child like that. Why must you always jump to the worst conclusions? Let me explain. Just calm down. A moment later, she finally calmed her rage. If you had just explained it clearly from the start, this wouldn't have happened. That reminds me. I sensed the aura of the Plum Blossom Swordmaster just now. How did you handle Wen Ruo and his men? I had a little chat with them, and they decided to leave. The mighty Mount Hua sect. One of the world's greatest. Listened to a little chat, and just left. She declared with absolute confidence. Of course they listened, because I was the one doing the talking. The next day, Peng Jinsung visited Dan Ak's room. Has our esteemed Valley Lord awakened? Inside, he found the boy performing acupuncture on the three uncles. Such dedication. May I observe for a moment? Wait. Are you combining two different schools of acupuncture at once? I began researching this long ago, and I've only recently started seeing results. I always believed such a feat was purely theoretical. The old man stroked his beard, his eyes sharp with assessment. Indeed. A technique that should only exist in theory. But the boy replied, that can't be. The effects are clearly beneficial. And thus far, I have observed 0 side effects. The old man turned back to him. Besides you, Valley Lord, who else in this world would even dare attempt such a thing? That is precisely why it remains theoretical. Even I would never dream of trying it. This needle, if it went even half a millimeter deeper, it would cause total paralysis. This one, the slightest slip means permanent deafness. And this one, a hair's breadth off center. And the result is instant blindness. The risk is so great. I wouldn't dare place these needles even on my calmest day. As Pung Jin-sung spoke, the faces of the 3 uncles turned deathly pale. The boy's calm voice cut through the tension. Sirs, please do not move. He then turned to the old man. But what brings you here, I fear? It is time for us to depart. The man produced a letter from within his robes. A message. Written by the Martial Alliance leader himself. The patient's condition has taken a turn for the worse. The very next day, the 4 of them stood before the gates of the Martial Alliance's grand city. The current alliance leader. He is from the renowned Namgung clan. Is he not? In his prime, Namgung Kangchon's spirit was said to shake the very heavens. This place has long been a viper's nest. And its leader is nothing more than a black-bellied serpent himself. How can we look him in the eye and suppress our rage? We must. For the sake of the divine doctor. The gates slowly creaked open as Feng Chanthan gestured them forward. Esteemed guests, please enter. Seothuk sighed in disbelief. To think we would be the ones welcomed. Stepping foot into the heart of the Murim alliance. Uncle, you must endure this for now. Do not worry. Divine Doctor, a humble junior of the Namkung clan, offers his greetings to the Grand Immortal. The journey was long, you must be weary. This man is the leader of the Murim alliance. Namkung Bak. Seol Hua offered a slight nod, a simple gesture in reply. In the entire Jianghu, who else could possibly receive such a respectful welcome from the alliance leader himself? Just how many centuries has this old witch lived? Namkung Bak spoke up. Grand Immortal. I will pay my proper respects later. Sect leader Fong. This humble one is grateful that you came all this way, at my request. He grasped Feng Chanthan's hands. Before I was the alliance leader, I was simply a father. Your visit has brought my heart a great measure of comfort. Please, it is a physician's duty to come. My only regret is that I could not arrive sooner. The guilt weighs heavily on me. I had assumed this was your esteemed son, the one who inherited the will of the legendary godly doctor. Though I wish to speak more, I must first ask you to examine my daughter's condition. Behind them, the 2 uncles whispered amongst themselves. I know a little something about reading faces. A disposition like that will surely bring disaster. Just like that demon lord who vanished at Kilian Mountain. You mean, the heavenly demon. Exactly. The heavenly demon's appearance and that brat's face are eerily similar. That's why he's so arrogant. Acting like he owns the world. Come to think of it, I've never gotten along with faces like that. What kind of face? One that's far too handsome. If that's your reason, then who in this world could possibly get along with you? And yet, you and I get along just fine. Brother Seo. Wait. Are you saying I'm ugly? Within moments of talking, the 2 uncles were already bickering again. Dan Ak-seon quickly raised a hand to silence them, while Seol Hwa's icy gaze readied for action. Seeing this, the 2 men dared not make another sound. The group arrived before a room from which agonizing cries of pain echoed. Nam Kung Bak asked urgently, what on earth has happened? The physicians reported, Alliance leader. Her condition took a violent turn for the worse just moments ago. We have tried every method we know, but there has been absolutely no improvement. Hearing this, the worried father rushed inside. Hyung-er. The divine doctor immediately donned his medical robes. Please, step back. After speaking, he quickly threw back the patient's blanket. What do you think you're doing? Do not interfere. If we leave her like this, the patient will surely die. Fong Chanthan advised him. This young man's medical skills surpass even my own. But even if he inherited the true teachings, what power could a mere child possibly possess? If that man was helpless, how could I possibly make a move? He took out a crimson needle. This is going to sting a little. Hearing his daughter's pained shriek, Nam Kung Bak grew frantic. That sounds like more than just a little sting. My child was on the brink of death. And now she's screaming like this. Alliance leader, if you enter now, all will be lost. Madam, I need your assistance. Please, help the patient sit up. From this moment on, no matter what happens, let no one touch the patient or myself. Do not, under any circumstances, come near us. Everyone immediately followed his command, but his daughter's screams made it impossible for Nam Kung Bak to remain calm. Pham Thuk could only hold him back. Seo Thuk spoke. If you couldn't trust him, you shouldn't have entrusted him with this in the first place. If there was truly no hope, I would never have acted in the first place. So trust me, and wait patiently. Unless you wish to end your own daughter's life with your own hands, my killing intent must have unconsciously leaked out. Yet they were able to withstand it head-on. A moment later, silver needles covered the girl's entire body. He let out a breath. All right. We were lucky. We finally passed the most critical stage. That was far too close. A moment's delay, and nothing could have saved her. Nangong Bai asked urgently, will the child be all right? Not entirely. If we don't find the root cause and eradicate it, I fear she won't last more than 3 days. 3 days. Then if you find the cause, can she be saved? That's hard to say. All we can do is give it everything we have. If there's anything you need, I will do absolutely anything. Anything at all. Of course. In that case, I must first ask the Alliance leader to step outside. Fan Shu chimed in. Didn't you just say you would do anything? If it weren't for this divine healer, that child would already be lost. The boy explained carefully. Allowing emotions to run too high will only make the situation more perilous. Right now, the patient's stability is paramount. The Alliance leader should only visit once a day. We will also stay in the adjacent room to resume treatment at a moment's notice. Please give the order. Absolutely no one is to come near this courtyard. I understand. And with that, only 5 people remained in the room. Feng Zhencheng asked, why did you insist that he leave? The boy replied, because the one the patient needs to see isn't just him, but her mother and uncles as well. Besides, I need the strength of you 3. Following conventional methods, there is absolutely no way to cure her. As evening fell, the young girl slowly began to awaken. Am I not dead yet? Yesterday, the pain felt like the end. But now, I feel so strangely refreshed and at ease. I can't remember the last time I ever felt this way. If only I could live for just 1 more year. No. Even just 1 more month would be enough. The divine healer, Dan, suddenly spoke. You must live much longer than that. Physician Feng, thankfully, arrived just in time. Because of him, I was saved once again. But I wasn't the one who saved you, my lady. With those words, he pointed towards the boy. The boy introduced himself. I am Dan Ak-seon. Let's work together to overcome this. She had thought he was just some lowly errand boy for the other physicians. To think this young man was her true benefactor. Then, I am in your care. The divine healer is also relying on me. Is there anything I can do? Of course, because a patient's will to live is the most crucial thing of all. In a little while, a terrifying wave of agony will wash over you again. Why would that happen? Hearing this, the girl was terrified, her body trembling. The boy's gaze turned serious. Before that happens, I have a few questions. Please answer with exactly what you know. Tell me, when did the very first symptom appear? She slowly recounted. 3 years ago, during the winter. During that time, did you consume any spirit medicine or undergo any marrow cleansing treatments? No. Did you ever come into contact with strange plants or poisonous animals? Not that I can recall. Why do you ask? Your condition is undoubtedly that of severed meridians. But I see no signs of what could have caused it. He scratched his chin. If that's the case, it must be an external factor. But tracing the source will not be easy. A case this unique has to have a reason. Unique. Suddenly, her eyes lit up. Now that I think about it, I did come into contact with a strange object. A strange object. Yes. It was the bed my father gave me. He said it was carved from a single block of Qinghua dark jade. An incredible treasure. I used it for about a year before I switched back to a normal bed. Why the change every morning? I woke up completely soaked in sweat. It seemed to be improving my internal energy, but the feeling itself was unbearable. His face instantly lit up. Of course, that was it. That bed was originally a gift for me. So why was my daughter using it? Now it just sits unused in the warehouse. Nam Kung Bak was puzzled. Could this really be the cause? I'll have to verify it to be sure. With that, he rushed over to inspect the bed, leaving no spot unchecked. The old man thought to himself, I heard this was the Martial Alliance's storehouse, so I expected something special, but it's nothing more than a pile of random junk. There's no dust over here. This must have been brought in recently. After a moment of inspection, Dan Ak-seon discovered a strange aura was indeed radiating from the bed. What is it? Divine Doctor, around the bed. There aren't any spider webs. What? Come to think of it, I'd like to try splitting this bed in half. Nam Kung-bak immediately drew his blade. Stay back. Was that? Sword key just now, the old man silently sized him up. Nam Kung-bak. That boy is truly treacherous. He's like a 1,000-year-old golden serpent, cunning beyond belief. I always assumed he only had the political sense and decisiveness of an alliance leader. In that moment, Nam Kung-bak cleaved the bed in two with a single strike. Witnessing this, the old man thought, he's hiding another, sharper blade. A sword that could split mountains and part rivers. His title, Severer of Peaks and Waters. I once thought it was an exaggeration. Now I see. It might have been an understatement. Dan Ak-seon knelt down and asked Nam Kung-bak, do you see it? Death energy is pouring out. I knew something was strange. The symptoms pointed to severed meridians, and yet her vital channels were perfectly fine. Now I understand why the other physicians were so lost. This was never a case of severed meridians. Exactly. The vital channels were never the problem. Her blood had simply become corrupted, thrown completely out of balance. As a result, her true chi lacked the force to flow through her channels. The root cause is this death energy. A foul miasma that has slowly condensed into a poison. Is it because of the bed I gave her? He asked, his voice filled with worry. Can she be cured? The boy replied simply. I will do everything in my power. The man suddenly roared. Everything in your power isn't enough. I'm sick of hearing those words. You will save her, no matter the cost. The boy asked calmly. Are you threatening me right now? Trying to force my hand like this won't help her condition in the slightest. In fact, your actions right now are only hindering the treatment. As he finished speaking, Nam Kung-bak felt two terrifying auras of killing intent lock onto him. Seeing the man draw his sword, the boy shouted, What do you think you're doing? Is this how a man who came begging for my help should behave? The boy stepped forward without a trace of fear. So, it seems what the alliance leader truly wanted was just an obedient dog who follows orders. I'm sorry, but I am not that kind of person. He pulled his uncles by the arm. We're leaving. Nam Kung-bak quickly pleaded. Please, wait a moment, I apologize. I was overcome with anxiety for my daughter's sake and made a terrible mistake. Please, quell your anger, not for my sake, but for Hyang Yi. For that poor, innocent child, Uncle Pham smirked. See, in the end, true skill is what matters most. The boy turned back to Nam Kung-bak. From now on, you will show my uncles the absolute respect they deserve. I will carve it into my very soul. Until this treatment is complete, no one is to set foot in this villa. That includes you, alliance leader. What? But I will do as you say, the boy declared in a clear voice. Until the moment we leave this place. You will not interfere with our work in any way, shape, or form. With the tense discussion over, the three of them left the room. On their way, Elder Seo asked the boy, Divine Healer, if the alliance leader hadn't apologized, would you have truly walked away? How could I ever do that? If I were to leave, the patient would die. I could never abandon her. To be honest, I was never actually angry in the first place. When a patient's life hangs in the balance, it's only natural for a father to be on edge. Our boy has some serious nerve. Doesn't he? Elder Pham chuckled. The Grand Master of the Martial Alliance himself was radiating an overwhelming killing intent, his inner energy surging. And yet, you didn't even flinch. You just calmly talked back. If we hadn't stepped in, things would have gotten truly ugly. Honestly, I was furious too. I actually considered just killing him right then and there. How dare he aim his murderous aura at a divine healer? Forget the treatment. I felt like smashing his skull in and burning this entire place to the ground. Only then would my anger have subsided. Little did they know. Their entire conversation had been overheard by Seolwa. She immediately went to find Nam Kung-bak with a warning. If you ever dare to direct your killing intent at that boy again, my name will be etched onto the list of the 10 great evils. The next day, the 5 of them gathered to discuss the plan. Elder Seo asked hesitantly. So, to cure the alliance leader's daughter, all of us must truly work together. We even need to train to synchronize our powers, the boy replied. Precisely. And Elder Seo, Your role is the most crucial, as your body's constitution is the closest to the patient's. Can we really trust them? The elder wondered. Please, don't worry, the boy reassured him. I am here. After all, of course, I trust the divine healer. It's those other two I'm worried about. But now, we have no other choice. We must place our faith in one another. Hearing that, the elder couldn't help but sigh. Peng Jinsung opened the door. In that case, I will go see the alliance leader. Yes, please do. Meanwhile, Namgung Bak was asking urgently. What's the situation? You still haven't found him, forgive me. We've mobilized everyone to search. But we need more time. Their target was Wonsang, leader of the Flying Dragon Merchants, who had vanished without a trace long ago. The leader of the Heavenly Unity Group, a man from the Martial Alliance's intelligence agency. Jigalyon muttered. Even Heavenly Unity can't find him. Is this truly a task I should be undertaking? They call it alliance business. But it feels far too personal. If not for my family's involvement in this, I would have found him by now. With that troubling thought, Jigalyon closed the door and departed. Namgung Baek mused. The man who presented the priceless azure flower dark jade bed vanished like a phantom. Alliance leader, the head of the Jinseong Medical House, requests an audience. Peng Jinsung of the Jinsung Medical House pays his respects. Alliance leader, Hyung Yi. The leader cut in. How is my daughter? That is precisely why I have come. We have found a potential path for her treatment. The leader shot up from his seat. You mean, she can be cured? I cannot guarantee the outcome. But one thing is certain. This is the only method that can possibly save her. I trust you completely. Househead, please. You must save my child. I will relay your words. Exactly. Relay them. What do you mean by that? Alliance leader, the one who will be directly leading this treatment, is not me. Myself and the physicians of my house will merely be assisting. The entire process will be decided by the Valley Lord. To be precise, the Valley Lord should have come himself to explain the procedure, but he is completely absorbed in his research, so I have come in his stead. Please, just save her. I will be indebted to you for the rest of my life. There is no need to speak of debts. This is simply a healer's duty. The alliance leader then asked, Is there anything I can do to help? Peng Jinsung presented a piece of paper. Actually, there is one thing we require the alliance leader's assistance with. Inside was a list of medicines that had to be procured. The celestial yin snow lotus fruit, a he shou wu root over 1,000 years old, and a great rejuvenation pill from the Shaolin. The purple mist pill from Mount Hua, also known as the plum blossom divine pill, and even the supreme clarity elixir of Wudang. A single one of these items was enough to throw the entire martial world into chaos. Each one utterly priceless. If they could acquire all of them, the chances of a successful treatment would increase tenfold. Another man stepped before the alliance leader. Namgung Baek, the spiritual herbs that clan leader Peng has requested, even within the martial alliance, are considered strategic treasures, only granted in special situations through an incredibly strict process. I implore you, alliance leader, to reconsider this carefully. This man was the head of the Blue Flower Group, the man in charge of the martial alliance's finances. Sagong-un, these medicines are for my own personal use. Therefore, they will be paid for from the Nam-gung family's assets. What was the original probability of success? 50%. Is that all? That meant, at best, there was only half a chance. Anyone else would have never even dared to try. Very well. I will find a way to prepare everything you need. Namgung Baek thought to himself. Hyang Yi's life is on the line. Even a 10% difference is like the distance between heaven and earth. Please, save my child. Meanwhile, Dan Ak-seon had brought a bowl of medicine before the first uncle. After you drink this, you must immediately circulate your energy. Don't force it to your dantian. Let it spread throughout your entire body. You must ensure the medicine permeates every last one of your minor meridians. The old man chuckled in response. Such a precious treasure. How could I possibly drink it all myself? Behind him, Xiao Hua and attendant Payam watched on with eyes full of envy. The first uncle quickly finished the entire bowl. The moment he did, he could feel his body recovering at an astonishing rate. But then, Dan Ak-seon suddenly collapsed, throwing the three of them into a panic. Peng Jinsung spoke with deep concern. It must be exhaustion. He's pushed himself far beyond his limits. That decoction was meant for the divine doctor himself. After all he's done, we absolutely have to save him. He's going to be all right. That evening, after the boy had fallen asleep, the three men began to talk amongst themselves. I think I must have dreamt of a mountain of elixirs. Soon, the Martial Alliance will deliver a mountain of elixirs. It won't be a dream for much longer. Even after treating Namgungbek's daughter, there will be enough to last us a year. Pong Jin-song corrected him. 4 months at most. No, maybe only 2 or 3. Because to treat all of you, the divine doctor won't hold anything back. The first uncle asked, knowing the divine doctor's personality. That's entirely possible. Weren't the divine and demonic doctors of the past the same? In fact, he's even more generous than they were. But at that rate, will he be able to sustain his own life? That's precisely why I appointed myself as the general manager, in charge of distributing all medicinal supplies. Those two argued so fiercely that in the end, they had no choice but to agree and hand over the valley's entire operation to me. At the very least, they stopped fighting over management issues after that. But what I was the one who suffered, caught between them both, barely able to breathe. Back then, the young master and the madam were constantly at each other's throats. Our finances were already strained. So, when did you buy this expensive Warm Yang Spring jade branch? Wasn't it you who requested it? They would turn to me and demand. Well, which one of us is right? I told them I bought it with my own money as an offering for the young valley master. My disciple, why didn't you tell us? We could have easily used the public funds for that. Hearing the story, the first uncle broke out in a cold sweat. You have truly been through a lot. It was agonizing at the time. But looking back on it now, it's become a fond memory. That's a brilliant idea. Let's appoint an administrator. We'll grant them full authority over the valley's operations. Then we'll no longer have to clash with the alchemy division. Any grievances will fall on the administrator's shoulders. Not ours. Do you have anyone in mind? There would be, if the Valley Lord permitted it. But he never would. Is there truly no one with a talent for managing wealth? If such a person existed, I would have dragged them here myself. There is one man. The money demon. Si Wujin. He would be perfect. But how could we possibly find him? I already threatened him to stay in the shadows. Fate will decide the timing. We'll put this matter aside for now. I'm stepping out for a moment. That threshold is going to wear thin from your constant trips. You're always heading out. I just need to clear my head and sort out my thoughts. Honestly. Nyanha. Who do you think we're exhausting ourselves for? Do you truly believe he's just clearing his head? What else could it be? Have you forgotten where we are? What other reason is there? The Martial Arts Alliance. He's gathering intelligence. Isn't he, preparing for the next time an enemy attacks? If that's the case, I can't just stand by. You fool. You can just stay put. What was that? You have a far more important task. Why are you bringing this up now? Here. Take this. If this is a confession, I'm rejecting it outright. Even with my generous heart. I have no interest in an old dame like you. Now. Don't get so worked up. Rejection is just a part of life. You'll get used to it. Now then. We need to train. Do you intend to let the head alchemist be defeated every single time? So, that's what this is about. Why didn't you just say so from the start? I'm truly fortunate to have met such good people. And that's all for this chapter. Young Masters. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to hit like to support Bear. Thank you for watching. And see you next time.